If you've ever called Thursday Friday Eve, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It is Thursday, January 30th, and we've got some stuff to break down. Tons of earnings on the docket, and obviously we're going to start with the really horrible plane crash that happened in Washington. Let's go ahead and get the show underway. Morning, folks, and welcome back. Happy Thursday, or as I just mentioned, happy Friday Eve, if you're up on that nomenclature. It's good to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Chris, good morning. Welcome back. KZIA, that's one of the movers here we'll take a look at today. Steve-O, welcome back. Good to see you. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Peter, it's good to see you this morning. Actually, Peter, I think I just responded to your email. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Market Sniper, good as always. Let's snipe some trades here today, huh? What do you say? Nice to have you back. Chris, Big of Bees, welcome back, man. Good morning and happy Thursday. Chuck, welcome back. Good morning. Son of God, Fisher, Men of Men. Welcome back. Good morning. It's good to see you. Bernhard, welcome back. Yassine, welcome back. Larry, welcome back. 3D, good morning. Welcome back. Austin, good morning. Welcome back. All right, folks, let's go ahead and start a quick look around. Oh, let me get my charts up here real fast. Here we go. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Hustle and Bustle, good morning. Okay, let's take a quick look around the market here. S&P futures trading up by about 0.25% here, plus 0.24%. Dow futures actually sinking. Dow futures coming off the highs there. This was up earlier this morning and has really kind of turned around. Might be on some of the information coming out here about the plane crash. We'll take a look at that. Dow futures down here 0.13%, so just a little bit in the red there. NASDAQ holding higher by about 0.5%. This comes on the back of yesterday, which was just kind of a weekday. I know it was choppy around the FOMC. We ended up finishing lower than we started, although not a whole lot. So as far as the SPY goes here, there are a couple of things that we want to take a look at. And let me actually make this chart a little bit easier to see. There we go. There we go. Okay. So yesterday's candle, very clearly an inside day, right? We are completely engulfed by the previous candle. So I'm assuming that we've all taken a look at inside and outside candles. This candle right here, yesterday's entire day, fit inside the entire range of the previous day. Thus, we call it an inside candle. Now, the significance here is that the next direction here is going to be chosen pretty soon. We are either going to break out or break down from this. And it feels to me like this is just kind of compressing. Yesterday, especially for a Fed day, the volume was lower than normal. I think we finished something trading like 32 million shares or something on the SPY. And the average, even now in the period where that average has really come down, the average is 48 million shares. So just not a whole lot of activity in the SPY yesterday, even with that, the Fed decision. So I want to see where we go here. The way I'm kind of looking at this is that this candle yesterday resembles a hammer. So under normal circumstances, that would be bullish. And what I would need to see in order to confirm that bullishness is a break of the top of this previous candle. I want to break out and I want to break up. That should draw in more bulls, and that should draw in more upside in some of the names, particularly the ones that are connected to the SPY. Now, the upside level here, the high of that candle, 605.37. So that's definitely a level we're going to put in play here today, 605.37. We'll see if we can break above that. The other thing that happens is if we do break above that, now we have a gap to fill up to this previous candle. And the low here is 606.80. The low of the candle is 607.97. So maybe 608. So we do actually have a bit of an upside gap here if we're able to create some strength to break out of the inside formation that we currently find ourselves in. This is what I'll be looking for more upside. And this will be one of the signals today to confirm that we have a bullish bias in today's trade. Now, in the other direction, If we break down, what I'm going to be looking for is the low of yesterday's candle. So yesterday's intraday low, and we actually have that value here at 604.13. All right. And now yesterday, that was actually the close of the candle here. We actually printed on the lows when we were selling off. We printed about 599. We did everything we could to stay above that 600. So the low, the absolute low of this candle, 599.22. That level is going to be important. I think if we crack that, we probably go to 596.96 fast. That's going to be your 50-day moving average. I wouldn't even be surprised if we tried to test that 595 area, which is where the 20-day moving average is. So I want to have kind of a plan for whichever direction the SPY goes here today. If you're paying attention to trends, yes, we are currently in that trend, so we'll see if that breaks. I don't want to do that just yet. I'm more looking for these high points, that gap, and possible areas of resistance and support. So this is kind of what I'm looking at on the SPY. This is how I'm going to approach today, and I want to see how this ends up resolving. I'm going to be prepared in either direction on how this resolves. The other thing that kind of affects the SPY here, obviously, we had Powell yesterday, the FOMC, and it went exactly as we kind of thought. We had even mentioned it yesterday, believe that there's not going to be any rate cut. It's just going to be a pause. And that's exactly what we got. The tone from Powell was hawkish. And basically the takeaway that I had is that, yeah, he's hawkish and he's just not in a hurry to cut rates. So my gut tells me that, yeah, we're not going to get a cut in March. And the first cut, if we get them, is likely going to be June. After the meeting, Jeff Gundlach was on, the Bond King, was on CNBC, and he's generally really good at breaking this stuff down. He has very, very keen knowledge of this. I view him as one of the most reputable sources when it comes to this. Gundlach was saying that, one cut this year might be the base case, and he doesn't see more than two by any circumstance. So again, we'll see how this all shakes out. Things are kind of changing here. The takeaway for me from the FOMC, Powell is hawkish and just not in a hurry to cut rates. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Really quickly, I just want to say good morning to those of you that are coming back in here. Crim Biscuit, Hustle and Bustle, DEI Empress, LOL. Good morning. Nice stash. Nice name. Good morning. Tanya, good morning. Matthew, good morning. Diamond Hotline, great to have you back. Rocket from Guardian, good morning. Nicholas, good morning. Kayla, how you doing? Ashok and Sideshow, good morning. Prasad, good morning. And White Chocolate Mocha. Now we can start. I was worried I didn't have my White Chocolate Mocha. Now we do, so we're good to go. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at with the SPY. That's where we're at with the broader market. We'll see how that impacts us here today. Futures definitely a little bit weaker. We were higher in the morning. We've kind of come off some of those highs. We'll see if we end up having a positive day today. Just gave you some of the levels to pay attention to. So that's what we'll watch here. Next, though, we are going to address. I'm not even really sure that there's a trade here, but this definitely needs to get talked about. There was a plane crash last night in the Washington area. An American Airlines passenger plane was rammed into by a military Black Hawk helicopter. It is anticipated, per the press conference this morning, that all 64 people involved have lost their lives. So it has gone from a rescue to a recovery operation. Obviously, American Airlines is hit on this news, down 5.3%. The accident happened right outside of Reagan International Airport. For anyone that's flown in there, you know exactly how busy that airport is all of the time. There's also military installations around there. Just really, really awful and horrible. I would imagine that the next big thing in this, where we kind of learn more, since they're still pulling stuff out of the water, is going to be the recovery of the black boxes. We'll find some more during that period. If there were instruments that weren't working on either aircraft, we should be able to determine that from doing the forensic analysis on the black boxes and all of that. And that might play into one of these stocks. But I'll be honest, at this point, just really sad. A bunch of people lost their lives. we'll see how this all kind of shakes out. Again, this seems to be dominating the headlines here this morning with some of the news. I'm just not sure there's necessarily a way to trade around this, but we should know what's going on, and I would expect to see even more headlines come out about this pretty much all day here today. So really awful stuff. American Airlines plane going down. I guess it was from Wichita, Kansas, flying into Washington, D.C. So, okay. Yeah, Chris, I have seen the video. I will say it's tough to really make judgments from it. It basically looks like two dots that just collide in the sky. The big takeaway, or the big issue with this, is that obviously visibility was not terrible last night in the Washington, D.C. area. And so a lot of questions remain. And that's also kind of why I mentioned the black boxes. I think that we're going to learn a lot about this incident when those flight data recorders are recovered. So I'm going to wait for that until we get some more information. But at this point now, just obvious sadness. And for those of you that fly a lot, I totally understand that. I fly a lot, double-digit times pretty much every year. And you never want to see stuff like this. This is I believe, the first midair collision in the United States since 2009. Just really terrible stuff. So we'll see what happens with this as we get more information. We'll see if there's anything that we can do to learn from it, or if there might be anything that we can trade around it. But that's kind of what's going on here. Again, you're going to see a lot of this on the news here today. So be prepared. American Airlines holding here down 5.5% this morning. All right. As far as the FOMC, there's one more piece of news here that the producer's article that the producer's going to throw in here. I did kind of cover it while I was covering SPY and the FOMC and all of that stuff here. A different Powell emerged. Fed chair softens hawkish tone on interest rates, Bitcoin, and Mohamed El-Arian says that the Fed wants to, quote, fly under the radar, end quote. Expects no rate cut until June at the earliest. And this is kind of the takeaway that I got too. Mohamed El-Arian has been doing this for a long time. He's followed the Fed for a long time. Very frequent guest on CNBC. Very sharp guy. Also loves dogs, so he gets bonus points for that. Pretty much telling you that there's not going to be a rate cut till June. That feels about right, given where we're at here with the economy, given what Powell was saying yesterday, and given that it really just doesn't seem like he's in any type of rush to try and do this. That June timeline makes a lot of sense to me. Now, it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts to this, right? Because we've had a lot of talk about, interest rates are going to go lower. Trump's demanding lower interest rates. We were expecting lower interest rates here. Lower interest rates would be good for small caps and smaller companies and all of those things. And now we'll see if we're actually going to get cuts. And if we do get cuts, how many cuts do we get? Remember, for a while now, the Fed has been telling us that rates should remain higher for longer in order to fix inflation and bring inflation down. And it looks like they're sticking to that. One of the other things that we should talk about, just because we talk about some of the back and forth all of the time, as mentioned, Trump demanded that interest rates be lowered. They asked Powell about this. In fact, Steve Leisman, this was the first question that got asked of him yesterday. It was very, very succinct, very clear. He's not going to make comments on the president, as it wouldn't be appropriate for him to do that. And he could just kind of maintain his independence. So it appears, at least on the surface right now, he's not going to be bullied by Trump. We'll see if that holds up. I would imagine that that's the case. I think it's just going to be some verbal stuff back and forth. But that's what's going on here. It was the first question. He said it really plays no mind in that, or doesn't think about that when making those decisions. So we'll see how that plays out here. All right, let's see. Did we get all that regarding the Fed? Yes, we did. Okay, on to Tesla, folks, because that was probably going to be one of the bigger earnings reports last night. Let me see if I missed anything here real quick. 30-year hovering north. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Zoo. Get the rest of you guys that are Rock. Good morning. Danny, good morning. Great to see you. Who else did I miss? Nicholas, good morning. Izzy, yes, Izzy. Okay, Izzy. Okay, really quickly, we're just take a time out here on Tesla. Izzy, the other day you were razzing me about taking your trades, and I was buying Amazon yesterday. And I actually held it overnight and added a little bit. To it on the pullback right around the close there. So I'm a little disappointed. That you weren't around yesterday. However, just know we carry that Amazon down slightly here into the session today. So we'll see if we can get Amazon to get a patented Izzy bounce, a little pull and bounce maybe, or just a rip out of the gate. We will be ready to go. So good to have you back here. Lock in. We got some trades to make here today. Good morning, Devin. Welcome back. Philip, good morning. Awesome. All right. Now, Tesla. Let's talk about this because this was actually wild here. So first, let me go ahead and give you the numbers. Let me see if I have them here. They're in Pro, not in my notes. Sorry about that. Okay, Tesla here. Miss on the EPS. EPS of 73 cents misses the 76 cent estimate. Sales 25.70 misses the 27.26 billion estimate. So a miss on the top and the bottom line. Production down 7% year over year. Deliveries up 2% year over year. Looked like the auto market were kind of weak auto numbers there. I think we expected or were hoping, I guess, for more in that for the auto numbers there. Tesla says the cost of goods sold per vehicle falls below 35K. This is great for trying to make electric cars cheaper. Tesla says increased AI training compute by over 400% in 2024. That comes as no surprise to anybody, frankly. Tesla falls on after margins tighten. That was one of the things that kind of came out from this report. Margins tightening up a little bit. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? And then let's see. There's a whole bunch of comments here. The big one that I think everyone is waiting for, and actually people might be trading on, you guys will have to tell me. Tesla says that full self-driving will be the largest value increase in human history. And then here, Elon Musk talks up the epic long-term potential, full autonomy in Austin this year. So from what I understand, it's going to be fully autonomous driving, unsupervised. Teslas should be available in Austin this year. How that rollout goes, how those perform will likely dictate how the rollout is going to go going forward here. But that was probably the big takeaway here. And I talked about robots and Optimus and all of that. I still think that's several steps down the line. I'd be willing to listen to a dissenting opinion on that, but I really think that the robot thing is kind of very small. We'll see if that picks up in the future here. And then here, Tesla CEO says, quote, confident, end quote, that full self-driving will be everywhere in North America next year. So it looks like 2026, that initial target there. We'll see. We all know Tesla sometimes doesn't make their targets, so we'll see if that ends up happening. But that was probably some of the bigger news or headlines that came out of that report yesterday. Looking ahead here today, Wells Fargo maintained underweight, raised the price target to 135. Yikes, bro, you're off quite a bit there. We'll see. We'll see if that works. And then I think there was another one here from last night. It was a Guggenheim. Let's see if I can find it. Tons of stuff. Guggenheim reaffirms their sell rating on Tesla. So here's the interesting part about this. If we take a look inside at the action here, here's what happened. Right when the number came out, all right, when the algos were reading it, when people were just breaking into it and digesting it, Tesla pulled. It pulled pretty good, actually. It's traded down here from about 390 to 365, but the reversal there. That reversal was strong. We were actually on happy hour kind of watching this. Pretty amazing. Really kind of gave us the feeling that the market really just doesn't want to trade down. The report didn't really look eye-popping, but here we go. Tesla trading back up, trying to go higher here. Looks like 410 was the resistance area. We're currently holding here at 404, so I'd watch that 410 area again here on Tesla. Really curious to see how you folks are going to end up trading this one. This is one of the more often traded stocks on our show. So I'm curious to look into this. Obviously, I'm going to manage the Amazon trade. Hope to be able to close that here today, but I am definitely open to a Tesla trade too, especially now that earnings is out of the way here. We have that print kind of done. So the action here on Tesla is pretty crazy. Not the greatest report. Tesla moved down on that report, then reversed and went higher and is now held higher into today. I got to think that gives us the chance to really kind of trade up today. We'll see what the market does when it opens and if volume is going to reward this print or not. We've talked a lot about Elon Musk and all of that. It's tough to bet against these companies. I wouldn't want to be shorted even after the report and all of that. So if we take a look on the daily chart here, you can see we were below the 50-day moving average. We've been kind of flirting with that area for the past 3 days. It really hasn't picked a direction. Now, this morning with the gap up here, we pretty much gapped right to the 20-day. So that's going to be one of the areas to see if we can take out. I've got that at 405.22. If we can trade above that 405.22 area, perhaps we can start building some new highs. You'll also notice we actually do have kind of a slightly higher low, right? So we've created this double bottom right in here. This goes back to the beginning of January, right? Tesla's selling off from the highs after its impulse move higher. We've created this double bottom here right around 380. And now that we've come up off of it and come back down, we actually created a higher low. This is good because this lines up nicely with our 391 fib level that we have drawn on here for some time. And it also lines up nicely with these two moving averages. So we should actually have a pretty clear plan here on Tesla. One of the things I'm going to be watching is the volume flow as well as the unusual option activity flow in it as well. So this is what I got here on Tesla. The other comment out of here, sorry, I forgot to read this one earlier. 2025 will be a seminal year for Tesla. So place your bets. If you're a Tesla bull here, if you like Elon Musk, you might have some more upside here. If you want to bet against that, good luck. But you'll have your opportunity here today. So Tesla, good stuff there. All right, let me catch up real quick on the chat here. I did not play Amazon. I hope for you. Okay, we'll see how it goes here today. Uber was down on that Tesla news. Chris said, Ryan, I think anyone making over 200K will have a robot in their house within 5 years. Okay, interesting. So just kind of right there with what you're saying, it does seem like that market is going to be limited. I just wonder how much these robots are actually going to impact the bottom line, and then thus the stock price. Jury's still out on that. I guess we'll see. This is crazy though. I don't know. I guess I'm still kind of off on robots. I don't even have a Roomba yet, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Big B's here. Perhaps it's why Tesla is not investable, only tradable. Missing numbers like that does not instill confidence in their ability to execute. My 2 cents. Big B's, I would completely agree with you. And I think that one of the other things here is that, one of the things that our group has been talking about in particular are fundamentals and how these things need to matter. And certainly earnings numbers are important. And when you miss them, if that doesn't instill confidence on your ability to execute, totally get it. Totally get it. The only thing that I would say is maybe this is probably similar to Amazon, right? A lot of just seemed like they were burning money. Then all of a sudden they turn on the profit jets and report good numbers. I like how you put that. It's not investable, only tradable. Tell you what, it's really hard to say that I'm going to short this company when they're trying to change the world from many different angles. But at the same time, you get numbers like that. Yeah, kind of makes you think, right? I love it though. That's what makes a market. Okay, let me keep rolling through some of the chat here. Sergeant Sexy, you're late. That's okay. Good morning. Better late than never, right? Ryan into house. Thank you, Sebastian. And you're here too. Diamond Hotline, we will take a look at SLXN when we get to some of the movers later. We're going to start with some of the bigger stocks here today. Nick, Intel, QBS, RGTI on my radar here today. I'm sure all of those will be in play. We'll see. Keith, could you look at URI? They had earnings too. Let me add that to my sheet here real quick. We can definitely do that. We have no guest here this morning. And we have over an hour till the market opens. So I'm pretty confident we should be able to get to any stocks that you folks want to take a look at. I have a robot lawnmower and I love it. Okay, Steve, I just hope that lawnmower doesn't turn against you and your family. That would be terrible. Of course, I'm joking. But let me ask you, so when you have to mow your lawn, do you just let the robotic lawnmower do it? Do you sit in like a lawn chair with a cold beer? Do you do other work? Do you just kind of double up and do other errands so that you can be done sooner? Interesting. Oh my gosh, I love my Robo Rock Gladys. I don't know what I would do without it. Her, not sure. I don't know if you're trolling or serious, but I'm just gonna go with that. I'm just gonna go with that. Okay, let's get back here to the news. ONDS DCA away. Ed, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Okay. Anyway, let's get back here to some of the charts there, or to some of the news and earnings that's going on. The next one that we had, probably one of the other bigger ones here, is going to be Meta, ticker META. We were actually waiting on this one for a while. This earnings report, I thought it was going to come out earlier. It did end up coming out here. I guess really the only takeaway here, it was a little bit volatile, but we really only resolved, 2% higher. It does seem to me like, for the most part, especially on some of the more popular stocks, it was the option sellers yesterday that won the day for the earnings prints, not the option buyers. We didn't get the severity of those expected moves. Even you see here on Meta, this traded up to 710, came back in here to 689. It was a revenue beat. It was an EPS beat. Daily activities are up 5%, and continued strong revenue growth is expected. I have a note here that Zuckerberg sounded giddy with excitement on the earnings call. Lots to come from Meta this year, apparently. That actually confirms one of the things that he had said on Rogan. He kind of floated that. I can't comment on the giddiness. I guess I didn't detect that. But he did kind of float that 2025 likely to be a pretty big year for Meta. He was excited on building things. So I know we're kind of in the middle of the AI craze. There's also this virtual augmented reality angle that Meta seems to be in. But shaping up here that 2025 should be a pretty good year, at least according to the company. Number of things going on here really quickly, just to cover the numbers. I told you that they had beat the GAAP EPS here of 802, may not compare to the 677 estimate. Sales 48.39 billion, that topped the 40.03 billion estimate. So did well there on sales. The guidance was light, but as mentioned here, Zuckerberg sounded pretty good. Stock holding higher here, just about 2%. In the pre-market here today. Then we had a lot of price target adjustments, and this, I guess, we kind of expected. Raised price targets here from Pivotal, Barclays, Mizuho, Baird. That was Baird still, Mizuho, Wells Fargo, Wedbush raised their price target. Pivotal, Barg, we already mentioned those. So a lot of raised price targets here on Meta. This actually sets up for a pretty decent day here in Meta. Like I said, I don't like the company, and I don't often trade the stock. And I actually have my eyes on some other targets, already being long Amazon, and then obviously looking at Tesla as well for a potential entry here today. I don't think I'll trade Meta, but this is holding higher here, and it looks like positive reaction, at least so far, from the market on those numbers. So pretty decent stuff here with Meta. We'll see how that actually plays out here for the day. Lion Atlas, I think that you trade Meta a lot. I can't remember, and I don't want to put it on you folks if you don't, but let me know if you trade Meta. I'd like to take a look at that, or I'd like to know what your trading plan is here. Love this 3D. First thing I do is hit the like button. All right, this is a really good tip. That should be required, 3D. Everyone should do that. Everyone should do that. And vote in our YouTube poll. Tesla. Producer, you're killing me right now. Bullish, bearish, not sure, or no opinion. And Donald saying we need bigger dividends from Meta. So that's an interesting. I totally understand why you're saying that. I mean, they yield less than 0.5% right now. Here's my thing on that, though. I wonder when they would increase their dividend, because it does seem like they're trying to take money that they earn and then reinvest it into new projects that they're building. So I know that you said it's time here. I actually didn't listen to the conference call. Did they hint at this at all? Did they even cover this? I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of kick the can down the road on this a little bit. Just because I know that they're trying to build things, and they're really trying to advance things. AI is, like as mentioned, that's a really big thing. I don't know if you're going to get that, honestly. I don't know if you're going to get that. But That you're right. And I'll tell you something else. If you did get a substantial dividend raise from Meta, this thing would pop. It would be a real good trade. This also, if I'm not mistaken, in a lot of funds and 401ks and things like that. So that'd be a huge piece of news. I don't know if that's on the docket here. Just taking a look at Meta's daily chart, this thing looks to be a runaway freight trade. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out here, we've pointed this out several times before, but one of the things that we've been talking about potential swing trades on some of these names, I've commented a lot recently on the 200-day moving average. And I did just really quickly want to take a second to show you what happened with Meta. Here we go. Meta was under the 200-day from, let's see, crossed beneath it right here about. This is, I'm estimating, it might not be the exact day, but early January of 2022 to February of 2023. For an entire year, Meta really stayed under that 200-day. And then the day it popped, it actually gapped through that. I'm willing to bet that this was an earnings report. It gapped through that 200-day. And since that day, look at this run. Look at this run. This is one of the reasons why we try to trade around 200-day moving average crosses. This type of performance right here by a company that is executing and is involved in, actually at this point, multiple hot themes. This is the type of performance we want to get from long-term trades. I know we talk a lot here about day trading. We're constantly looking for things on a daily basis to move and capture and then build those gains. One of the things that I'll say, and some of you folks are really good at it. Some of you folks are extremely good at this, but these are the types of moves that I'm looking for as a trader. The intraday short moves are great. They're fun. They can really teach you things. I really liked Carmen's comment from yesterday about how that gives her targets to research and broaden her knowledge base. I think that's tremendous. But it's moves like this that are really going to help you build wealth and then free up your financial future. These are the types of things that we want to catch. So when you guys hear me talking about 200-day moving average a lot, just remember what's possible when you really catch one that turns around and gets going. And just to put some numbers to this, I'm actually even going to go from the pop. I'm not even going to go from the back test or the dead low. This stock, since crossing the 200-day moving average in early 2023, is up 277%. Just absolutely lights out performance here on Meta. So just as kind of an aside, that's one of the things that we wanted to do. Okay, it looks like we've got some data out here today. We were expecting the jobless claims print. Looks like we've got that. First of all, U.S. GDP quarter over quarter for Q4, 2.3% versus the 2.7% estimate. The prior read was 3.1%. So GDP quarter over quarter continues to drop here. U.S. initial jobless claims, 207,000 versus the 244,000 estimate. The prior read was 215.5. That number is also a little bit light. Looking at the SPY here in the S&P futures, we actually ticked up on that. We're actually above 0.3% to the green side here. Looks like, let me actually go back to the chart because it did look like the first thing that we did was pull a little bit. And then we resumed higher. So let's take a look here. Yeah. So it looks like right when we got that print, that initial move here was down. Now we are resolving higher. There you go. Those are the data prints that we were waiting for before the market opens here today. That's out now. So giddy up. We'll see if that helps us have a bullish day. Just remember, one of the things that I was looking for here, which direction do we break out of this inside formation? Do we break up? Do we break down? Do we fill the gap up? Do we come back down to a 50-day moving average support or any other support level here on the SPY? So, okay, that data print out of the way. Now that I'm kind of looking at it, I know it moved a little bit here, but it almost seems like that's kind of a nothing burger, not a really huge report. And I don't see anything else on my screen kind of reacting. Bitcoin, by the way, I hadn't even mentioned that yet. Bitcoin holding here, the Bitcoin futures chart, 105,245 on Bitcoin. So that also kind of in line here. So at least this data print didn't really just sink us here today. Okay, the other big earnings report from yesterday is going to be Microsoft, right? MSFT. Microsoft shares trading lower here by just about 4.5%, down 4 2/10 here, after Mizuho cut its price target from $510 to $500. Look out. Cut a price target by $10. trading down here 4%. Really quickly here, numbers on Microsoft. 2025 GAAP EPS of 323 beat the 311 estimate, and sales of 69.6 billion beat the 68.78 billion estimate. So a beat on the top, beat on the bottom. Shares slide a little bit though, and the big thing here is I believe it was cloud revenue that missed expectations. That's been a big thing here. Yeah, Microsoft stock falls on weak cloud computing growth. So it looks like that print was a little bit lower. Microsoft sees Q3 intelligent cloud revenue 25.9 billion to 26.2 billion. Looks like that was a little bit under the estimate there. So there you go on Microsoft. And then here there were a couple of more. Yeah, it was Mizuho lowering their price target. Also, the price target was lowered to 510 from 525 at UBS. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that there was another one there this morning. Mizuho and UBS maintaining their rating, but cutting their price target. Microsoft down 4.2% here in the pre-market. Now, looking at where Microsoft is, that's going to put us at 423. That actually takes us beneath the entire conglomerate of those moving averages. So we just finished talking about moving averages. Guess what? We're going right back to it. Look how nicely these were all compressed and packed in here. This earnings report takes us beneath all of them. Very much like we wanted to see. Can we recapture any of these? Can we trade back up? The 200-day, the one that I just spoke about here, 425.76. We're currently at 423.48, so 423 and a half here on Microsoft. Can we recapture that 200-day? If we close beneath this, how far do we close beneath this? Remember, one of the things that we look at for longer term trades here, if you get multiple closes, 2-3 closes above or beneath some of these moving averages, those levels now become stronger support or resistance. So that'll be one of the things that we're looking at here. And then if we continue to have weakness here, we really want to see what happens down here at 410. Maybe let's just call it 400 to 410, because those have clearly been support levels for Microsoft going back to the middle of the year last year. See if we get that there. Okay, let's see. What else am I missing here? Can we go over LAES? Yes, we can. Great American saying the reports do not seem to have moved the market in either direction. Basically, a muted reaction. Indeed, that absolutely seems to be the case here. And actually, as far as the earnings reports, that initially it looked like the market traded up. It really didn't go higher until later in the afternoon. It kind of grinded higher there. So, okay. AT says, my dog hates those floor cleaning robots. I will not have one in my place. You know, I've heard mixed reactions about that. I've heard dogs that play with them, dogs that are afraid of them. I've seen videos of cats riding around on top of them. I've heard stories of cats running for the hills. I can't imagine my cat would be too thrilled with a robot cruising around the house, but at least it would provide some entertainment. Am I right? Anyway, I wonder how it would respond to a humanoid like robot. That would be something else. All right. That takes care of Microsoft. One of the other stocks that we were going to take a look at is going to be IBM, right? IBM also reported earnings. This one, just a massive move. God, what is going on with my other computer here? It is freaking out. Sorry. IBM, massive move for IBM here, up 10%. IBM shares are trading higher after the company announced a collaboration agreement with Telefonica TechLink for quantum safe technology. So I know, Nick, you were talking about quantum stocks earlier. We've got some more PR here out of IBM's report. IBM still up 10% here. The stock may also be trading on continued strength after reporting better than expected Q4 financial results yesterday. Yeah, gosh, you think? Okay. IBM beats Q4 estimates, bets big on AI with a $2 billion generative AI business. So one of the other things that we had talked about recently is, are we going to see spending on AI curtailed from DeepSeek? Well, the early results are in. The answer is no. Will that change? We'll see. My guess, my gut tells me it probably won't. Tells me some of that DeepSeek stuff was made up, frankly. So, okay. IBM here. This is, I believe, a new break to new all-time highs here on IBM. Legacy Tech really getting it done here. You know, one of the other things to keep in mind, IBM obviously had, this is, again, comes from our discussion in Happy Hour yesterday. IBM does have a lot of government contracts, government workers. Currently, the administration is clearing out a lot of excess from the government. And the thought here is maybe some of these companies might end up feeling that. So I don't know. I'd like to hear from you folks. Are you buying a stock up 10%? Are you buying IBM more specifically up 10% here after an earnings pop? We're going to wait for this to maybe back test one of those levels, maybe come into 240, hold the top of this double top, and then resume higher. You folks tell me. IBM plus $22.50 here in the pre-market. Okay, there are some stocks that reported. There is one. I wanted to mention a couple here that we also talked about last night on Happy Hour. Whirlpool, this is down 12.5% here. So really kind of a big miss here for Whirlpool. This puts us at what, 113.5. Looks like we're going to try and hold that 100-day moving average down here at 111.5. That would be a level to watch. I don't know if anyone trades Whirlpool. It's not the most popular stock in our community here, but as far as levels go, this one down 12% on a pretty rough earnings report. We'll see if it does get some support there at that 100-day. If it breaks that, I would imagine we get some support down there at the 200-day. Okay, and now the other one that I wanted to mention here, LVS, ticker LVS. This is Las Vegas Sands. LVS reporting earnings here and trading up by 7.67%. So it looks like it missed on the EPS, but the sales ended up beating here. You can see LVS was really kind of in a downtrend here, really holding this low 40 handle. Now we've popped above the 200-day. We're at 46.76 right now. That 200 days at 46.15. This actually looks pretty good. And furthermore, I would guess, at least from where I sit right now, that a positive report here on LVS should bode well for Wynn, ticker WYNN. This stock reports earnings in 14 days. This is after the market closes Thursday, February 13th. This is also after the Super Bowl. If that means anything to your trading plan here, but the positive report yesterday on LVS should bode well for Wynn. I don't have a position here on Wynn, but this is definitely something that I'm going to look at going forward here. I expect this to kind of bleed over. Izzy's asking, Ryan, are you still in Lyft? Yes, I still have my Lyft position. Remember, that was an earnings position. That was an options position, not a stock position. I see Lyft getting pounded here in the pre-market, so we'll see what happens there. That, just to remind you of that position, Izzy, that is the April 20 calls. Okay, the April 20 calls. The reason that I bought that is because I saw an extremely unusual and large vertical call spread bought on Lyft. It was the 2023 vert. I ended up just taking the 20 calls to not limit my upside. They were a quarter. When I was looking at them, the ask was a quarter. So I grabbed a handful of them and threw them in my back pocket. So Lizzie, yes, it's not long-term, 77 days till expiry on that contract. So you're looking at just over 2 months here. One of the other things that's kind of playing into this is that there have been some rumors floating around about a potential merger, buyout, DoorDash, all of this, because Uber Eats is just cleaning Lyft's clock. Or Uber is cleaning Lyft's clock, and Uber Eats is a part of that. So I could see Lyft maybe I don't know if that's going to happen, but when I know that that's kind of floating out there, and it kind of makes sense to me, and then I see unusual option trades on top of it, that was enough to kind of spur me to do that. But let's just be honest here, Izzy. We're talking about options, and there were a quarter a piece. These aren't very expensive options. If this trade doesn't work, it's not really going to hurt me a whole lot. If this pops and becomes a home run, that'll be great. So I am in Lyft, not a huge position. Definitely waiting to see if we get a move here. But Lyft, while we're talking about it here real quick, Lyft lower yesterday in the after hours, and then lower here today in the pre-market. This thing actually broke 13. This was over 14. Was this over 14 yesterday? No, not quite. It was the day before. This was over 14. Now it looks like we're about to crack 13 and go lower here. We'll see if we get some support at the 500-day here at 1282. RSI also kind of rolling back over here, so maybe this sets up for a potential bounce, but that's what's going on here with Lyft. Okay. Good morning. Good morning to Aaron, Gary, CDU. Good morning. Great to have you folks in here. Jonathan, good morning. Jay Summers, good morning, if I missed you earlier. Tesla is taking Uber and Lyft down. Yep, that totally makes sense. We'll see, though. We'll see if that Lyft trade ends up working out. Okay, so that was Las Vegas Sands, Whirlpool. I guess we could start taking a look at some of the earnings here from today. Okay, sorry, gotta. Let's take a look at UPS, right? They reported here this morning. UPS shares trading lower after the company missed Q4 revenue expectations despite beating the EPS update or estimates, 2024 adjusted EPS 275 beats the 253 estimate. Sales of 25.3 billion missed the 25.41 billion. One of the things that we talk about on UPS is that this can also be used as like a read into the consumer. Are they buying? Are they shipping stuff? All of that here. It looks like they missed on sales. That's a little light here. UPS down 15%. Okay, a couple of notable things from looking at the chart here. This is actually a pretty substantial pullback from some of the highs, and we're in what looks like kind of a very long-term sideways area. Man, oh man, this going all the way back to 2015 here. And on top of that, we also are just now entering oversold territory here. So maybe there is a potential bounce coming here on UPS. Might give this some more room, maybe even 100. I don't know if we're going to sell off 13 more points with the RSI where it's at right now, but maybe right here, maybe down to 110, possible bounce spot on UPS. But no bueno here this morning, down 15% in the pre-market. Okay. Let's see. I'm just catching up. Good morning, Jane. Great to see you. Okay. Good stuff here, folks. Let's go ahead and bring on 13, see what 13's looking at here today. Gotta be able to get the menu here. Good morning, 13. Happy Thursday. How are you doing here today?
I'm doing fine. How's everybody else? How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just taking a look at some of these stocks and obviously digesting the plane crash news from overnight. So
that was tragic to see.
Yep.
I don't think we have enough information about what exactly went down yet.
Really quickly, let me just kind of catch you up to where I was at there. One of the things that I was saying earlier is that expect more headlines out about this as they continue the recovery operation, because I think this is going to be one of those accidents that when you recover both of the flight data recorders, you're going to be able to get some pretty substantial information about what happened. And I wouldn't be shocked. I think that might take some time here, but that's one of the things I'm going to be looking at going forward. I agree with you. I think there's just not enough yet.
Yeah, and I don't know that there will be anything that we can do with this in terms of a trade. Not that I would feel great about that to begin with, but I don't think there was any one company that was at fault here. So unfortunately, there's nothing. I don't think there's going to be anything to short, nor would I feel good about doing that.
Here is your intraday chart on American Airlines. We are up off the lows a little bit here, but we're still holding down 3.3% in the pre-market here.
And that's only because it was the type of passenger carrier that was involved. I don't think that they were, the culprit or the problem, based on what I understand. But like I said, we still need to find out more.
Yeah. And I've obviously been watching kind of the same stuff that you folks, the radar data. I've seen those flight paths and all of that, and it is what it is. We'll wait and see until we get some more information out. Is there anything else that you want to take a look at before we go to the movers? We do have some movers here. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time today, so we can cover pretty much everything that you have in your docket.
I'm sure you've already talked about it, so I won't get too into it with everybody. But I saw that we had the GDP numbers come out, and they were below expectations. But if we consider the Fed's, economic projections that they, put out several times a year, the last one they put out was in December, and this change in real GDP is still within their upper end of the central tendency for their year-end 2025 projections. So nothing that I would be concerned about yet. It is a decline, and it's been declining. We can see that, but until we start, going closer to 2 or under 2, Percent. I don't think that the GDP report's going to really move the needle.
Okay. We also got the jobless claims number here. That was a little bit soft. And one of the things, 13, and when we first got this, it looked like the market did trade up a little bit, but here it's pretty much given those back. This honestly looks like a nothing burger to me. It's
just not so far. It's just not the kind of print that's going to scare people out of the market. It's just not there.
Okay. Where do you want to go next?
Well, we can start looking at the movers, unless there was something else that you had in mind.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I noticed that we did have some folks talking about quantum again. Still see more and more articles coming out about quantum breakthroughs and stackable scaling computers. I think Broadcom just came out with a headline recently about they've been able to develop some post-quantum security encryption hardware. I didn't, obviously read into it too much, but like I said, I just keep seeing more and more quantum headlines. So I'm not sure that the speculative side of the quantum trades are done yet. I think we could still see some more.
Yeah, you're right about that. And when we see some of this like euphoria and some of this action, I think it's important to remember this can last longer than what makes sense, for lack of a better term. Looking at Rigetti here, we're up 3.5% in the pre-market. I didn't see any news on this earlier. Did I miss something? No news here. I think it was Nick that was mentioning a quantum stock earlier. Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think all of these are likely still going to be in play here today. Why don't we check out the movers and see what's moving around there and what's moving some of these smaller stocks. What do we want to start with here?
I'll be honest. I was only able to get into two before I came on here, just because they're both biotechs, and whenever these biotechs start moving,
I think you probably covered techs then, TECX. So I guess we can start there. Is that one of them?
That is one of them. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll start here. Tectonic Therapeutic shares are trading higher after interim results showed TX45 achieved improvements in hemodynamics that met and exceeded specified objectives. So this stock here up 56%, up $14.50. Pretty nice looking pop here. Now this recently pulled back. Do we know what that was off of?
I didn't look into it.
That was January 28th. Okay.
Yeah, that was just a couple of days ago. I didn't look to see what that was, but because I was more interested about what's going on in the future.
Okay, so we had news here. I'm sorry for interrupting you. We had news here about an Eli Lilly trial, the update on the kidney drug, and that looks to have hurt this company. Okay. That's what brought it down on the 28th. Now you're getting some actual data here that is, quote, strong and positive.
Yeah, and it also could be a little bit of a low RSI play as well. I could definitely see that being the case as well here. But the phase 2 data apparently is positive enough. But I think what's interesting to me about this, and this will be a future trade, the results of there's going to be more results from this TX45 drug trial in the second half of 2025. Another thing to watch for with this company is going to be for their TX2100 drug that they're going to be starting phase 1 in the fourth quarter of this year or as late as the first quarter of next year. So future catalysts coming up here with this one. The stock does have 8.61 million shares in the float. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit easy to push around. Okay. And it apparently has enough cash in the bank for about 8 quarters. If their last read on the balance sheet is correct, it seems like they are well positioned to continue their cash burn for a good amount of time, at least a year and a half. So that's about what I've got in TECX. We're going to have some future results with this one, so put it on your radar for later in the year.
Yeah, and the conference call looks like it's either currently going on, maybe it's done yet. They had a company to host a conference call and webcast today at 8 a.m. It's obviously 9 a.m. or just about to be 9 a.m. here. So that is either still going on. Maybe we'll get some more stuff out of that. But okay, good stuff there. Good job tracking down the float there as well. 661,000 shares held short here. And actually, what did we have on days to cover there? Days to cover 5.94. So maybe there is some potential squeeze action in this one here today if this really gets rolling. This will be a good one to take a look at. Worth noting here, you might notice that it's actually not on my movers list. This is only traded 579,000 shares in the pre-market. Now, I say only because my filter for movers here is generally trying to find the high volume movers, and my filter is 600,000. So it's just barely not collecting this stock. However, everything's relative. On average, the stock trades 144,000 shares. Already today, it's traded 600,000 off the back of this. I would expect this to grow substantially today. So definitely going to be some more action here. TECX.
And that's going to be, I believe, primarily because of the size of the price per share. It's kind of expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would imagine actually it's pretty. Let me look at it here. This is definitely pretty spread. 39.64 by 40.16 right now. So spread quite a bit. Spread over 50 cents there.
Probably will trade better once we open. I'm not so sure about in the pre-market. We are above VWAP right now. The after hours high yesterday was 44.84. So we are, making our way up there very, very slowly on that low volume that you mentioned. So I think this may be something that will trade better once we open, but I wouldn't be interested in the pre-market.
Okay. Market Sniper, Ryan, what was that company that used to sponsor the show? They had the competition. There were two that had competitions. It was Trade the Pool, the prop firm, and then Trade Zero. Both of them had stock trading competitions. It's probably one of those, Market Sniper. Okay. Next on the list here is ATHE. ATHE. Alterity Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company reported top-line results from its phase 2 clinical trial of ATH34 in early-stage multiple system atrophy, showing clinically adjusted benefits in both doses studied. This stock, huge move here. It's up 97% right now. It's about $3 yesterday. Did top out at about $7.50 in the after hours. We are holding higher here today. And then let's take a quick look around the horn on this one. Unlike the last one, almost no short interest here and no days to cover. So it does not necessarily have that same squeezy attempt, but lo and behold, the float right in that butter zone that we hope for here, 8.67 million. On average, this stock barely even gets looked at, trades almost 72,000 shares a day. Today, it's traded 9.3 million. 9.3 million. What do you got?
That's more along the lines of what we want to see in price action in the volume. Yeah. The thing that was bothering me about this is an Australian company, by the way. The thing that bothered me about this, I didn't have a really great read on their cash, so I don't know, how strapped they are. But I did find their website a bit interesting. They do have so this particular phase 2 trial result was for ATH 434-201. You can put this one on your radar if you're looking for future catalysts. They're going to announce, and I don't know when, they're going to announce the start of a trial. I think it's phase 2 for ATH 434-202. The first one was for early stage. What was the problem? The drug.
Early stage multiple system atrophy.
Yeah. So the one that we are getting results for, that's the early stage. This other one is for advanced atrophy. So I think we're going to be seeing results from that fairly soon. I just don't have an exact read on it, but or when that's going to happen. But that is something that is in their pipeline that should be nearing the end of their phase 2 at some point. I would maybe guess in the first half of this year. So,
okay, good stuff there. ATHE. I would imagine that this one. I would imagine that this one is going to be in play here today. All right, I'm going to keep running down. Say again?
It might trade better than that last one, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of what my gut says. But we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. We got plenty of time here. Next one here is going to be KZIA, and this is yet another stock that we have traded here before. We should be pretty familiar with this. Kazia Therapeutic shares are trading higher following regulatory approval and the launch of a clinical trial evaluating the combination of Paxilib, some drug that I just cannot get out here. There you go. what he said. Immunotherapy in advanced breast cancer patients. So getting a breast cancer PR here on one of its drugs. This thing popped as high as 280. Retraced 50% of the move. This is common practice. What we see on some of these smaller movers here as price action just seems pretty much expected. Quick look around the horn here. About 0.25% of the float shorted. Really nothing. Nothing really to speak of here. And then overview float 5.57 million shares in the float, right there where we wanted it. And this getting a ton of eyeballs here. Normally trades 101,000 shares, but today almost 30 million shares before the market even opens. What do you got here, 13?
Well, I was just trying to take a look at their pipeline to see what they've got going on here. I mean, this is what phase of this trial? This is 1B. And that's the ABC pack. So let's look at their website and see where that is. Not exactly sure. They have a lot of stuff going on with this pipeline for Paxilosib. So I'm not sure exactly what study this one is based on their website here. They've got a lot of stuff going on. So we could see some future headlines out of this for the other phases that they have going on with this. The glioblastoma, the common primary brain cancer study, that's in phase 3. They have another one that's in phase, several that are in phase 2. So I'm not exactly sure what particular trial this is, but it seems like they have a lot of other studies going on with this particular drug. So there's going to be future headlines with this. Now, as far as their cash position goes, I don't have a great read on that. So I'd be a little bit concerned about them needing to raise some money. It looks like they just recently did a 2 million direct offering not that long ago. So maybe that's something to consider since it's not on their balance sheet yet.
Okay. Real good breakdown there. KZIA. We'll see if this one gives us a trade here today. You know, one of the things I will say about the where this is at right now, we've seen some of these. As long as this area holds, I do think you're going to have a trade here, at least back to VWAP. How many of these stocks have we seen curl and at least give you some type of upside trade back to one of those levels? Now, I'm not guaranteeing that that's going to happen. This could still break down, but that's one of the things that we're going to watch here.
Crimp Biscuit had a question earlier about why this ticker froze ahead of seemingly nothing burger results announcement. If you're referring to TECX, sometimes these companies will halt for news pending. That's probably what happened. But if it didn't halt for news pending, then it's just it's we already found out that this wasn't moving a whole lot to begin with. So it may not have froze. It might just not have been on anybody's radar. It might not have just gotten the interest because of what we were saying earlier about is kind of how expensive the stock is. Mm-hmm. So that's what would be my guess. I don't know if there was a halt or not. I don't think there was, but if it didn't seem like that was getting moved around, it's because there was no interest in it. That'd be my assumption.
And sometimes that's the case, right? Like sometimes some of these, there isn't interest until the PR drops and then the stock starts moving and then eyeballs get generated on there. So that's some of that. Sometimes that's what you see here. That's how it goes. JJ, good morning. It's great to see you again. Kevin N, good morning. Kevin saying, Ryan, I'm sorry about your Blackhawks, bro. What are you sorry about? Just out of curiosity, did you not see the Bedard snipe the other night? I mean, what a shot. I played hockey, and at the angle that he was at, I can't even believe that you're thinking shoot at that point. But he did, and he put it in that little slot and scored. I don't know what you mean by that, but you let me know. Nothing to be sorry about. They're a bad team right now. Still fun to watch. They got a lot of kids on the roster. Okay, back to stocks here. Next is going to be STAI. This is Scantech AI Systems. Scantech AI Systems shares are trading higher after the company announced it deployed a fixed gantry computed tomography security scanner at multiple nuclear facilities across Canada. Interesting. So we talked a lot about the nuclear theme. Maybe we've got another smaller one here that is a thing behind the thing. We'll see. The stock was about $1.50 yesterday. We did trade up to about $2.20 here today on this piece of news. VWAP here at 195. So we'll see if it holds there. It does look like it's getting a little heavy up here. I don't have any read on the short interest because I don't have the float. Only 270,000 shares held short here. So unless this float is mega low, it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of short interest on this one. And then the session volume here. On average, the stock trades about 4.5 million. We're about double that here in the pre-market, so nothing massive yet. 13, did you have? I know you said you only covered a couple here. Did you have anything on this one on STAI?
So, computed tomography, otherwise known as CT, is so what they're saying is they've got a system that does CT scans for nuclear facilities. Am I understanding this correctly? That sounds pretty cool.
I think so. Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool to be able to see, the inside of everything
without having to go in there and expose yourself.
Mm-hmm. That could be interesting. Now, this, yes, to your point about it being part of the nuclear theme, yeah, I can absolutely see that. Looks like this is a new company, though. Maybe that's why we don't have too much information on the float structure. Looks like they need cash. They're burning a good amount of it, and it doesn't look like they have a whole lot on their balance sheet. This could be a company that raises some, unless they did some recently that we just don't have any information on. Not that I see. Yeah, so I don't know about their cash position or if they've got anything in the brewing in the pipeline, but this was a former SPAC. It looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure about this one. The news this sounds pretty cool, but yeah, I don't know about this one. Sorry to interrupt you there. Let me see.
No, you're good.
Let me see if I can find. And it's got AI in the name. That's a big selling point. So 223 is the high we just put in the pre-market, and it looks like we're still trying to move up higher. This may continue to go up into the pre-market. To wait and see, but it's above VWAP right now, and it looks like it doesn't have a great time getting over 210. So if it holds VWAP into the open, maybe we get another move up, but we don't, and it looks like we're starting to lose VWAP closer to the open. Maybe wait for it to shake out, and then we can start trading it.
I like this comment. Harry here saying, it's 13. You scare me always when you say they need cash. LOL. Harry, this is one of the reasons that we say that, right? Our goal here is to try and protect.
Yeah. I don't want to scare you. I want to prepare you.
Yeah. I love that. I don't want to scare. I want to prepare. Mm-hmm. Dude, why don't we have a shirt business yet? Damn it, 13. I feel like we could.
Just sit me down and just
you know what?
Pump them out. Okay?
I know, seriously. Like we need to come. I got to look into this. I blame myself. I keep asking you, but at the end of the day, I blame myself. That's a good one, though. That's a really good one. All right, next here, BNZI. This is just kind of a continuation. This is one that we're all familiar with. I didn't see any news on this.
Arval.
What's that? Arval, yeah, right. The news yesterday were acquire Acton Software, and they had big volume yesterday. 13's right. Arval here today. We did trade up as high as 280. We lost the VWAP on the 5-minute here. We're holding the 65 EMA on the 5. So we'll see if this gets a trade. Yeah.
Let me get to Rocket from Guardian's question from about 6 or 7 minutes ago, real quick. Just a real quick answer.
Sure.
He's asked 13. Did you please provide technicals on Starbucks, aka your favorite stock? Haha. Not my favorite stock, but I do own it, so you're right about that. But the real easy technical on this, it's overbought, just completely overbought, and this will come in. I probably comes in under 100. I could provide some levels here, but the real easy answer is if this thing is overbought, I expect it to come in at some point pretty soon. Still a long hold for me. Won't be selling it for a while, but it did break over a trend line. And if Ryan wants to draw that starting from the July 2021 highs going through the May 2023 highs and continuing with that line, you can see that this price action we've had from their earnings broke over that trend line. So
July 20. What am I stupid? Where?
No. You're not stupid, dude. It's July 2021.
2021, for heaven's sakes.
And draw that through the May of 2023. There you go. So we just broke over that. Now, could we come back in and test this? I 100% believe we will. Do we fall through it? I think there's a risk that we could. So that will be a trend line to watch for to see if this trend line holds or not. I expect that we will 100% come back to back test this. The big question that I'm not 100% sure about is whether or not we'll fall through. I think that we could, but we should be able to recapture it thereafter. So that would be my assessment on Starbucks in the very short term.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Thanks for the breakdown, 13. I like this, Kevin. I don't want to scare. I want to prepare. And a big red candle, maybe breaking off down through a computer monitor, like breaking through the actual monitor to the. We could do something there. We could do something there for sure. Okay. Roaring Mouse. Hey Ryan, does Benzinga show any news for the rumored XFOR buyout that swirled yesterday? If so, what time was it posted? Okay, well, that's a very easy check. We can go ahead and do that. XFOR. One thing to note here: it is a penny stock, but bingo. Look at right here at the top of the news feed in this fuchsia magenta color. There we go. Watching X4 Pharmaceuticals shares seeing volume to the upside. Traders circulate unconfirmed rumor the company may see a takeover approach. To answer your question, that piece of news was posted at 3:32 Eastern Time yesterday, Wednesday, January 29th. There you go, Roaring Mouse. 3:40. That rumor was posted in the newsfeed. Jeff Bezos with a troll comment here. You're not stupid, Ryan, just a bit slow. We'll try and speed that up. We will try and speed that up. Appreciate you, Jeff.
You need to get a Fast and Furious shirt now.
Well, we'll come up with something. We'll come up with something. Keep that under my hat. We'll come up with something for you, Jeff. No problem. All right. Let's go back to the movers there. We can keep crushing that list. Let's see. What do we have here? We got 20 minutes. We should have plenty of time before we actually open here. I don't even know how much is on this list. SGD. Oh, here we go. Oh, this was topical. All right. SGD. This is, this wasn't from yesterday. What was the one yesterday? SGP? SGN? We had one yesterday.
SGN.
SGN.
Signing Day Sports.
Yep. Signing Day Sports. Okay. So this is the one that went yesterday. Today it's SGP.
All right, so let's see.
SGD?
We're going up backwards through the letters, so it's going to be higher than those other two that we had. So anyway, just making a joke, but anyway, SGD. What's the story here with this one? Very low float, a little bit of short interest. I don't think that makes big of enough of a difference. So the news headline here is debt forgiveness.
So here, this is what it is. Safe and Green Development Corporation, which is SGD, acquires all SGD shares held by Safe and Green Holdings Company, which is SGBX. Okay. SGBX, by the way, is a penny stock. Safe and Green Development resolves financial obligations with Safe and Green Holdings. God, could you make this any?
Are these companies related at all, or are these literally two separate entities that have almost the exact same name?
I am going to have to get back to you on that.
I don't want to trade this at all.
I'm going to have to get back. I will have to look into that because I feel like even if I guess or I feel like I'm likely to make a mistake if I don't look into that here. But anyway, let me keep reading the news here. It resolved its financial obligations with Safe and Green Holdings, forgives $908,000 in debt, offsets $815,000 advances. SGBX forgives $394,000 in debt, transfers $276,000 SGD shares to Treasury. SGBX ceases to be an SGD stockholder.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, it is.
Let's
see if there's
anything. Have fun with it.
Let's see here. Safe and Green Development Company is a real estate development company that focuses on the development of sites using purpose-built, prefabricated modules built from both wood and steel. So this is like some of those green, and I don't mean greenhouses like for growing plants. I mean greenhouses as environmentally friendly homes, it seems like. SGBX, Safe and Green Holdings, is a modular solutions company. The company currently provides modules made out of both code-engineered cargo shipping containers and wood for use both for permanent or temporary structures. So these things are definitely related.
Yes.
Did you look into the actual companies themselves?
It seems like SGD. That's going to be on the developer side. You know, all the deal makers, the managers, and everything. And then you have the other company, which is the actual picks and shovels, that's going to get it all done, the construction company. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. I don't know if they're related.
Yeah, they are.
Probably are now.
Check this out. Here we go. We've reached the bottom, folks. We've reached the bottom. Here is your click through. Again, so someone else here was just saying Benzinga regarding the rumor being sold on the rumor. Here we go. Again, we had another question here, and live we're able to figure it out. From Pro here, we're able to click through the Visit Company homepage here, and this took me to this is SG Devco. And the first thing that you're going to notice here is that this is actually very similar in layout to the other company's website. The location of the graphics, the typeface used, the format used, they are almost a cut and copy. But the death knell here, the nail in the coffin, if you will, right down here. SG Devco headquarters is located at 990 Biscayne Boulevard in Miami, Florida. SGH headquarters is located at 990 Biscayne Boulevard in Miami, Florida. These are absolutely, if they're not the same company, they are absolutely related. Crow says that sounds sus.
In the same building.
In the same building, same street address. So there we go. We've reached the bottom. We got to the bottom of that pretty quick. Thank you, Benzinga Pro, for the assist there. So, okay, that's what's going on with this one. Two more that I wanted to mention here real quick, and then we'll use the remainder of the time to take tickers from the chat. Nokia, ticker NOK. All of you that played Snake on your phone for years, you can rejoice. Nokia is trading higher here on earnings. Nokia shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. I don't really know anybody that trades Nokia here. Maybe we'll get some volume flow in this and we can kind of scalp it for a day trade, but it's gapping up here. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to avoid this. And then there was another stock on here that we got asked about earlier, LAES. This is Seals Q. This is one that we've traded a lot recently. Since the last time that we traded the big move here, this thing has really, really broken down here. Now it is popping a little bit today. It's up off the 320 lows that were put in yesterday. There was a PR here. Seals Q strengthens U.S. post-quantum semiconductor footprint with Seals Q USA. An establishment of a semiconductor manufacturing facility is what that is. So we'll see. This is up 6.7% here. Let's take a look at the volume numbers. It's traded 3.2 million shares. On average, it trades 44 million, so nothing out of left field here. Float 71 million. It's a little bit higher than what we were looking at, but that's what's going on here with LAES.
Getting BBAI is moving right now. Thank you.
Sounds like there was news.
Thank you, Webcoin, for putting that out there. They were awarded a contract from the U.S. Department of Navy Seaport Next Generation.
Financial terms not disclosed.
Yep. So it's got AI in the name. And it's got a very high short interest.
What is the short stats there on that one?
It's,
35% of the float shorted here. Yeah. Only 1 day to cover though.
Right, because that's interesting because the float is 106 million, so they can cover that in 1 day. Really, I'd like to see that. And yes, C-Spot, you were correct. WKey is a partner with LAES. They have been getting some good movement lately.
Okay, and by the way, also one of the other stocks that we took a look at earlier here, TECX, this actually did take the next leg up. This was a 44 snap. We've gone as high as 50 here, maybe a little bit higher there. Morning Voodoo, morning Beach Bum, morning Aimer, Carmen, Lion,
hi, everybody.
Mike, Webcoin.
Carmen saying MSS and CA Forsman saying SPCB.
I like this comment really quickly. I'll go to SPCB. Ed, in Biscayne, where there are no businesses, only billionaires. That's pretty good there. Ed. Okay, let's take a look at SPCB. SPCB. This is Supercom. This was a huge winner coming from our happy hour. Shout out to Andy for that one. This looks like down 14.5% here. Did have some news offering $6 million registered direct offering priced at $11 per share. First of all, 13, I believe that when we talked about this before, one of the things that we talked about was them needing cash.
Yeah.
So
So
I feel like we adequately warned the group on this one.
yeah. So that I'm curious to see what he says now, but I think that he's going to say, okay, now it's probably the best time to get it. I think that's what he might say. I don't want to quote him or speak for him, but I think that's what he might tell us is that now that this is out of the way, it should be able to do what he was expecting it to, unless it's already made that move. I mean, I'm not in this, so I wasn't trading. I don't know.
I'm not in this too. Maybe this does, with it being close to the actual offering price at this point, maybe we do get a bounce. We could watch this one. This will show up on the scanner if the volume really starts to flow in here, but wasn't in this one going into today.
And then Carmen brought up MSS. That had news this morning. They had a consultancy agreement with Good Fortune Supermarkets, 4 of them. So they signed a 3-year consultancy deal worth $1.3 million annually.
Now, MSS here, Maison Solutions, is a fast-growing specialty grocery retailer offering traditional Asian food and merchandise to modern U.S. consumers. So that totally makes sense there. It looks like this is just expanding some of their authentic Asian line, right? That's what I would gather from this.
Yeah,
and consultancy deal with Good Fortune.
And is this correct? I have a float reading of 160,000, but the float shorted is 167. That can't be right. That's a naked short if true. I don't think that's correct.
Well, maybe was there any type of split recently that would have done this? No, that last split was from 2000.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
A little bit of curiousness
here today. That is a little bit curious here. Sometimes with these smaller, junky names, sometimes you do get a little bit of that. But okay, what else do you want to cover here? Let me go to the main chart because I suspect we're going to be asked for levels here. What do you want to take a look at?
I've already looked at everything I want to see so far, unless somebody else wants to bring something up to our attention.
Let's go for the chat here. Barat is asking about Tesla. I would imagine there's a lot of Tesla here. We covered the news on Tesla. They obviously had earnings yesterday. Big takeaway here on Tesla from the daily chart. We were really kind of flirting with the 50-day moving average for the past 3 sessions. Now we've actually moved away from that. Tesla's up 4.5% here in the pre-market, holding right at actually slightly above at this point that 20-day moving average. So we'll see if we take that out here. As far as some of these different levels here, the 20-day, what do we do around that? The 50 days down here at 396. So 13, do you have any levels on this one? And I'm actually, while you go through that, I'm actually going to take a step back for a second.
Yeah, so we're still in trading within a symmetrical triangle here for Tesla. It wasn't, of course, great to see yesterday prior to the earnings that the stock closed beneath the 50-day SMA. That is not what you want to see if you're a bull. But those earnings and the conference call really did help that recovery and take it higher. So now we are looking at opening above the 20-day SMA, which would be quite bullish. But it also is a pretty clean rebound off the bottom of the symmetrical triangle as well. Now, if we do trade up here, we have the top of that triangle at about 420, 421. So that could be, a resistance level for today. But the news on why this is going up, it's on the full self-driving announcement that he said that we expect to see some of those FSD cars on the road this year. And he's trying to work with other regulators in China and Europe to get on their roads later this year as well. I have to say, I've heard this news before, and they didn't deliver. Now they may do it this time. I would not be surprised if they did, but this is something that they've said. They said it in 2020, they said it in 2021, they said it in 2022, and now they're saying it. They said it last year. I don't remember what they were saying in 2023, but it seems like every year they always allude to full self-driving just being right around the corner. And they've been saying that for years. So I'm, forgive me if I'm a little skeptical about full self-driving, being unleashed this year, but it seems like we are actually closer than we have been in previous years. So I would not be surprised if that happens, but I am still taking this a little bit lightly because of all those false promises.
I summarized this earlier by saying Tesla has missed several of its of its timelines there. So wouldn't be shocked if this happens again. Kevin here saying, don't look at the sales dropping. Look at my fake full self-driving.
Yeah. Don't look at this over here. Look at shiny objects over here.
That seems to be a common strategy going on right now.
And all the magpies go for it.
Yep. Oh, man, what is it? All right. What else do you want to take a look at?
Well, seeing Crow is mentioning Root, so let's go back to that.
Okay.
And if there's some others that we can get to as well. I see Lion was asking about Meta as well. We can talk about all of these.
Yeah, well, let's start with Root. I already covered Meta earlier today. We can go back to that. And while you're doing that here, I've got some issue with my second computer here, so let me see if I can resolve it.
Sure. So Root turning around. I see what you're talking about here. Like it's trying to push back up into the levels that we had back in December. Is there news on this? Not the conference call discussed fourth quarter financial results. That was yesterday. No, I'm sorry, that was a week ago. So I don't really see a whole lot of news on this today. Still has a pretty good short interest. 16% with almost 5 days of cover, 4.3 by the read here. Float is 10 million shares, a little over more than 10 million, so not that hard to push around. It seems like this it's got a bit of a downtrend here. Let me just double check. Looks like if it can get up to about 99, that's about where the break in the trend would occur. I honestly don't. I mean, you tell me, Crow. What's got you interested in this one today? I see that you have that big move over the 50, and that's about it. But if there's other news coming, let me know.
Here's the trend line that you were just speaking about.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. And then you covered Meta, and the big thing for me about Meta that has me a little concerned was the size of their expenses and capex. Mm-hmm. If you look at the change in that year over year, it's like over 17% more than what they had than what they were forecasting for 2024. So at some point the size of the costs or the expenses really start to concern me when you have revenue growth slowing and the costs don't. I don't think that's what's happening here yet with Meta. It seems like their revenue is still great, but when you look at the revenue they did last year and you look at the costs that they're forecasting for this year, there's about 20 or 30 billion of net, and they just don't want to see that. If you're a holder of their company, you just don't want to see that slow down, and that could be what's happening here. But we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, good stuff there on Meta, holding 3% higher here. That the increased capex, doesn't that kind of also throw cold water on the whole DeepSeek claim of training an entire AI model for 5 million? I mean, to me, that seems.
The DeepSeek, I think what's really coming out about that is that the training, the amount of people they hired to get this to do what it's doing right now, that's probably what costs 5.6 million. Because this company this DeepSeek company, it's not even 2 years old.
Yeah. So. Okay. Let's see. We got less than 2 minutes till we open here.
Cool.
Looking pretty good.
AJ Walker saying BBAI is pushing higher.
I'm going to go to the main workspace and get that all set up here.
Yep. 393 is the pre-market high. We've got about close to 90 seconds before we open here.
Poll closing in 1 minute. Thank you, producer, for the reminder. Let's go ahead and vote in that poll. I'm going to go ahead and do that myself. January 30th. This is today. Poll question. All right. All right. I like the results there. I'll go ahead and read those results when we collect all of those votes there. Okay.
Yeah, Lion, I get that you have to spend money to make money, but when you look at what Apple was spent on their headset, and I don't think they made a lot of money on there. It's you're you're right that you got to spend money to make money, but wisely spending money to make money is what I would like to see. Apple hasn't been really doing that lately, but maybe that's for the better since they didn't get caught up in the AI sell-off from DeepSeek.
Question here, Jonathan asking, did we look at AMOD, Alpha Modus Holdings? No, we didn't, Jonathan. So we might as well do that here before we open. We are under a minute, so we're going to open here shortly. AMOD here, Alpha Modus CEO addresses the market volatility and its recent SPAC merger. The CEO defends the company, no surprise there, amidst market speculation, emphasizes strong fundamentals, growth strategy, and shareholder value post-SPAC transition. Criticizes the short-term focus in the SPAC market. The recent sell-side activity targeting AMOD stock appears to be driven by misconceptions and a lack of understanding about our business and long-term strategy, coupled with the de-SPAC norm, said the CEO. This sounds like a defense that we hear similar after a short report. Stock is up here 77%.
We are open, and looks like BBAI is trying to, well, it looked like it was trying to push up into that 393 area, but slowed down as soon as we got to some of those highs. Not sure if what's going to, oh, here we go. Now it's starting to move.
And real quick here, I did want to also comment on Nike. There was someone asking about this. I forgot who it was.
I saw
the
that
name. Okay, you saw it too. It was Dwayne. Dwayne, good morning, by the way, Dwayne. You had asked about Nike here. Full disclosure, I'm still in this trade. But man, oh man, I'm almost out of it, and this has been a banger. So we took, just to kind of recap here, this hold of 70 here, this little hammer candle on January 16th. Was the entry trigger there. I took the 72.5 calls. I missed my ad when I got this power candle on January 21st. So I actually sold my smaller position a little bit early and then rolled into a higher strike. That's the 76 strike for February. And since then, I've actually sold partial of that, sold half of that at plus 120%. I'm hoping that Nike here hits 80. So the last portion of my position is a trailer. I'm letting my winner run here. Even if this portion of these calls go to zero, I will have still made money in this trade. So I'm looking for 80 here, but the entry trigger of this passed about 6 points ago, at least from the chart setup that I had. TECX higher out of the open.
Higher? Yep.
$55.
So that's finally getting some better price action. Are you getting into the millions of shares traded yet?
Yes, we are 1.352 million shares now.
Fantastic. AMOD looks like this is trying to push up as well. 344 is the pre-market high.
Just took out the VWAP.
Yep. Oh, that's a nice one. KZIA popped up to VWAP and got slapped down. So MACD looks like it's trying to curl and go up. I'm not sure about this one quite yet. I would like to see it back above VWAP. Sorry.
All good. I actually cut you off there a little bit. Izzy, love it. Bought Amazon before the open, Ryan, for a scalp. So I had mentioned earlier, I took Amazon yesterday, held it overnight, added a little bit here today. My blended average now 237.20 on Amazon. I know it's a little bit beneath that. We'll give this a little bit more legs to kind of hold in there and see if it runs here today. Looking at this, I would probably say that 234-ish is the stop. We traded down there late last night. We'll see, though. We'll see how it's trading.
BBAI is absolutely ripping. You guys are nailing it right now.
AMOD also ripping as we speak. That's actually above the pre-market high and going higher here. 370 on AMOD. Here's your BBAI chart, vertical out of the open. Good stuff. I'm not in any of these, but good stuff here for the group.
AMOD's going to halt. This could be a halt fest here. Let's see what we get. If we get a good move out of the halt up to the upside, that'd be 2. And that third one could also be a push up as well. So this is going to be something I'm watching for with AMOD now. BBAI 421. Let me see if I can pull up some levels here for y'all. Okay, so we might be nullifying a head and shoulders pattern here with BBAI today. And if we are, we're going to want to see this come up to 480 and take it out. 480 has been the resistance area, gosh, for this entire month so far. And now we're coming back up to try again. There is a big wall here at 425 that I see here on the price ladder, but 480 would be the target I'm looking for to get taken out in BBAI. At the very least, might trade up to it. That's where it's been resistance all month.
Okay, there we go. BBAI, that's continuing to rip up here. By the way, go ahead.
And now KZAI is starting to turn around here.
Through the VWAP on KZAI.
Yep.
By the way, really quickly on those poll results, I have a bonus result here for you because we actually ran a poll during the Tesla conference call last night. Here's going to be your question. Are you bullish, bearish, or not sure on Tesla? Last night for the Tesla earnings, 59% said bullish, 18% said bearish, 13% said not sure, 8% said no position. I got over 2,000 votes in that one. Tesla from this morning here, 50% said bullish, 21% said bearish, 16% said not sure, and 11% had no opinion. I'll be honest, there seems to be no sentiment shift from yesterday's earnings to this morning. Those numbers are all very similar. Thank you, producer, for conducting those polls.
KZAI about to close this 1 5-minute candle and start the next one. That one was really bullish, so we might get some more upside here in this KZIA on this next candle. 277 is the pre-market high. I'm looking for the price to run up and hit that area on its head. Needs to hold VWAP though, but that's where I'm looking for the price to go in KZIA.
Okay, there you go. Good stuff. KZIA. ATHE looks like we had a little bit of a dip and rip here. Looks like it held 536. SPCG, that's that Sachs Parenti Golf. We've talked about this one here before. That actually might get ripping. Watch it. That crosses 84 cents. I'm going to stay away from the penny stocks. Bonsai here, ticker BNZI, trading down initially, but bouncing right back. STAI, we talked about this double top up near 220. This is now reversed and come back in. This actually, well, no, never mind. That's the 1 minute chart.
The space plays are back. Almost every single one that's on the list, my watch list, is up. ASTS, BKSY, those are up over 4%. LUNR up over 5%. Planet Labs back, and that is up over almost 8% now. Redwire 6%, Rocket Lab 5.5%. A lot of these are doing really well. WKey almost 5%. Space stocks strong out of the open here.
Okay, B-Sky. Remember the last time that we were trading this, it was around 15, 16. So despite being up 4% here today, we're actually still multiple points under where we were trading it on that impulse move.
But that Redwire, just absolutely nonstop up.
The thing behind the thing trade here, that Redwire have been one of the better space themed trades that you had on your list there, honestly.
Absolutely. This is the picks and shovels of space.
That's Apple looks like 240 print, the high. Now remember, Apple reports earnings here tonight, folks. So that you got another big report here today. Apple's strong ahead of those numbers here. We'll see if this can hold above 240.
KZIA
getting mentioned. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. KZIA is trying to hold its VWAP. Still looking for that 277 test, maybe even a break. If it loses VWAP, might need some more time. But if it starts to lose some of these other EMAs and lose the sideways consolidation from the pre-market, then we might not get that. But so far, it's not breaking down. Still looking for that 277.
Fubo here, 425 might be a spot there to watch. 425. Arnaz, that's another one being called by Crow here. Just mentioned this is curling a little bit, maybe 925. If that can move through it here. TECX, this is now up over 100%. Looks like 55 was kind of where it stopped there.
That was we just needed to be patient with that one and just let the regular session do its thing, because it was not getting that love in the pre-market. But here we are, and these upper shadows that it's been putting in from the pre-market into the open here, that would make me cautious. I don't know how much higher this is going to go, but it's looking like the sellers are trying to step in and take this thing down. If you've made money in TECX, great. Don't lose it. At the very least, consider maybe raising your stops. But this one looks like it's starting to get a little heavy for the buyers.
Wisdom here saying, when are you going to do a Benzinga fashion show together? Crow can do the music, Beach Bum has the venue, and we can make it pay-per-view. Wisdom, I would just respectfully advise that maybe avoid the edibles around breakfast time. That might be the way to go there. The last person you folks want to see in a fashion show is me.
Yeah, I've been called a lot of things throughout my years, but fashionable was never one of them.
I was going to say, most of my wardrobe comes from Costco, buddy. I don't know.
Well, there we go. A
Exactly
Costco fashion show.
well, I know.
Let's call them up.
Aside from these hoodies that I love and seemingly wear every day during the cold weather.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
man,
on
that's funny.
KCIA. This is looking great. Here we go with 277 coming up.
This actually
Looking
might
good.
attack those pre-market highs here.
That's what we're looking for. That's 277 I'm barking about.
All right. I'll tell you what, volume in this one, volume in KZIA looking real good here.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we hit that, we could get closer, hit that 277, and come back in. We are kind of getting some a little bit stretched here. I'm seeing that the sellers are really starting to pile in up closer to that area, while the bids really start to thin out as we go higher. So might need a little bit more time, but I'm still looking for that 277. I think that we're going to get that.
Coin getting mentioned here. Just taking a quick look at Bitcoin here, it is still at that 105, 200. It's not really making any outsized move, but coin here up out of the gate on that.
Keep an eye on AMOD. I think that's supposed to unhalt pretty soon.
Okay, perfect.
BBAI starting to put in a little series of upper shadows. If we get another one, I'd be concerned about this coming in. But if we continue to go sideways and maybe start to push up some more, could break out and go higher. Still looking for that 480 in BBAI.
420 seems to be a spot there in BBAI.
TECX, the bulls are not done. Just put in a new high of 54.79. But the volume is really starting to fall off.
I'm going to take
really spread.
I'm going to take a quick look at it. You're good. Take a quick look at Tesla here. It looks like we did pull back down to the 400 area. And now with the earnings print from yesterday in the after hours and the opening print here today, sure looks like we have a double top here right around 412. Let's call that area 412 to 413 here. So Tesla looks like it's put in a double top and kind of come off that. I would rather this not break down through the pre-market lows. I got that at 393.5. I actually like to see this bounce pretty soon. We have a nice little uptrend given the pre-market here today. So we'll see if we get that here on Tesla. TECK making new highs.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Got a bunch of these penny stocks on here that are all up 30%.
Yeah, the BBAI one, I think it's looking like it's putting in a bull pennant, but I just really worry about the wicks on the top here from these previous two candles. Really need to see what this current candle does, how it closes. We still have 3 minutes left in this. KZIA kind of going sideways, but still above VWAP. ATHE, this is not looking great for this one. Starting to come down here, and it has not been, has not had a green candle yet in this session, but I see that there is some support potentially at 492. That is from the pre-market lows following the impulse move in the after hours yesterday. So we might get some support around, the low 490s.
I got totally lost there. I didn't bring up that ticker. I'm sorry, 13. That was ATHE, right?
That was ATHE, yep.
I was going to say, based on the price, I'm pretty sure that's ATHE. This is a bounce spot right here. If
it does look like it, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yep. KZIA coming in and trying to hold VWAP.
We're like the moon. Tides. We need to balance the tides, apparently. Wisdom, you're 1 in 10 million. You know that? 1 in 10 million. Google ripping here, reclaiming 200 on that rip there. Actually, it looks like it broke through that, tried to do it in the pre-market and couldn't. Now that's moving higher here. I wonder how the rest of these tech names, NASDAQ here, still up about 0.5%, pretty much unchanged from the pre-market. NVIDIA continuing to roll over. I'd watch NVIDIA against yesterday's intraday low. Looks like it actually tested 120 at one point there. Watch that level down there.
Okay, well, we got our unhalt with AMOD, and it went higher, just like we thought it would. 479 is the high. It's still not done yet. And I'm just waiting to see if we're going to get a halt again. This thing is just all over the place, but the volume is not what the last candle was. Last candle was an 18 million volume candle. This one that we're currently in right now is only 1.1 million. But it's increasing.
Congrats to anyone that played
Yeah.
AMOD here. Missed this one here today, but man, oh man, good stuff there. Wiss asking if I see anything on Clue. The stock down 93.5%.
AMOD might go up to 595.
Okay, no, real quick here, Wiss. I don't see anything on this one. You look. Here's the other thing. I don't know what's going on here, so I don't want to. Trading halted, volatility pause. I don't want, without doing more research and figuring out, I don't want to speculate, but I really do want to emphasize this is one of the reasons why we speak less than glowingly about China stocks, is because stuff like this seems to happen, more than somewhat. This stock down 93.5%. I don't know. I will look and see if I can figure something out here. Hope that no one in this area or in this room was holding this. This might just be the end for CLU.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm sorry, I wasn't.
I just don't know. I just don't know, and I could guess, but what good does that do?
So, Market Sniper, the AMOD did not IPO. They were a SPAC. They merged with Alpha Modus. That merger happened in December on the 13th, and that price at that time looks like it was under 10. You got a lot of volatility starting in October. I assume on the announcement that they were going to merge, and that's why you got all this wild price action. Going as low as 8.19 to as high as 13.49 before the merger occurred, and this whole thing started de-SPACing. So that's what this whole price action is, because you can look at the history of this and just see that it's been kind of floating around between 9 and 10 for a very long time. It's very indicative of what SPACs do.
SoFi here having a really good morning. SoFi up 3%, actually just set some new intraday highs here on SoFi. This actually might not be a bad trading vehicle if this continues here today. Mizuho, this was yesterday actually. Yesterday morning, Mizuho reaffirmed their buy rating. Okay, so I don't see anything fresh here on SoFi. This might just be some continued trading. They reported earnings recently, didn't they? Yes. Monday morning. That's right. We talked about that. So SoFi here, post-earnings move plus 3% here. If the volume stays good here, you might be able to scalp this one here today. You might be able to do some short-term trades on this one.
KZIA had a little bit of a nasty pull there, but it's still trying to hold above the EMAs. Currently beneath my VWAP, though, so we need to see that recover. Otherwise, may not get our 277 quite yet.
Beneath mine, too, 13. Beneath mine, too.
Okay. SPY, meanwhile, trying to go to 605, and there it is. So let's see which Mag 7's ripping this thing up.
Yep. And actually, NASDAQ also doing the same thing. The entire market is popping here, by the way. Dow, NASDAQ, SPY, all at the highs, all ramping. Bitcoin is not following yet, still at 105,370 on the futures chart there. But that is ramping.
Yeah, on what? I'm trying to find it must be Meta. Meta, maybe Tesla. Meta's got to be the one that's pulling this whole market up.
Baba here. This is actually curling up. Remember, we had news yesterday about Baba with a new AI program. We did trade above 100. Actually, looks like we took out 101 as well. Sure looks like 100 tests coming again here on Baba. The other thing I'd watch for more of a potential run here would be yesterday's intraday high that we got. So again, had that up here at about 101.30. So watch that area here on Baba. This is curling, looking pretty good this morning so far. How's Meta doing? You're just talking about
pretty
that.
Good.
Meta is printing. There you go. So here's another level to watch. You want to watch that pre-market impulse high. We talked about this actually out of the open this morning when we were covering Meta's earnings. Yesterday's after hours high, about 716 and change. That would be another level to break here if we do that today.
So this could be
continuing to push higher. Sorry, 13.
This could be that gap fill day that we were looking for. because on Tuesday the gap that was filled was that void that was created from Tuesday the 21st to Wednesday the 22nd, and we never even filled that area when we had the DeepSeek sell off. We just skipped right past it. So on two different moves, up and down, we did not fill that area, but we did fill it on this past Tuesday. And now I'd be watching for a fill of the actual gap that was created on from Friday to Monday, which fills at 606.80.
Okay.
And we're not too far away from that either. We're about $1.15 away.
KZIA right on the VWAP for me right here, actually going through it. Watch if the volume starts to accelerate here. That might be an entry trigger for a day trade. KZIA. Planet Labs showing up now on the relative volume scanner. Volume looking really good here. Planet Labs vertical out of the open. Did we have fresh news on that? Or maybe that's trading with... Yeah, we did actually. Needham maintains buy, raising price target. Northland Capital maintains outperform, raises price target. JPM Securities market outperform, raises price target. So it looks like we got a couple of price target raises there and some reaffirmations of those ratings. PL, ticker PL, Planet Labs.
It's absolutely phenomenal to see where look at my space watch list and see what the 52-week lows are. They're so far away. Like
that space theme was a monster. That was a monster.
And it's gonna be a monster going, throughout this entire year. Here we go with KZIA trying to recapture the VWAP. It's trying to do that right now. But some of these 52-week lows in these space names like ASTS 197, stock price is 1871 now. W key 161, stock price is 803.
Whoa. Mobilize. So this was actually on the Benzinga recommended stocks this morning. When I sat down at my desk here today, this thing was crushed.
Yeah, because guidance was awful.
And now they're positive 2.5%. So they got everything back plus more.
What did they say in their conference call? Are you trying to find like a reason for why this is just to the 180?
Yeah, well, I'm just noting this, right? I'm noting this because this was actually a pretty good trade if you were able to buy this in the pre-market here. I don't know what caused it to move up.
How's Intel doing? Because Intel owns this, don't they? Or they back it?
Intel, more lows here. Boy, Intel.
Mm-hmm. They got a sell rating and $20 price target, so that's probably pulling it down.
Lion mentioning Adobe here. Adobe trading higher. We watched this double top that we had made on Monday and Tuesday. Adobe actually might be trying to break out from there. 445.5 is that level. If it does break that here, I could see this. Here, let's get, let me go to the bigger chart here.
Yeah, Waste Management, great earnings. Yeah.
Adobe, we have some continued strength here. 468.5, not a unreasonable target for Adobe. This is trying to break and go higher here. Plenty of room on the RSI as well. Izzy, Amazon starting to come back. There we go. That was a good ad, by the way, right out of the open on that.
Yeah, Waste Management. But Lion was also bringing this up as well. This is something we've been talking about regarding the Los Angeles fires cleanup. Also on the utility side as well. But this having a really good morning after the earnings results, and it still looks like it may have some more room to go higher.
Yeah, and another move away from that 200-day too.
All those moving averages. Oh yeah. And I don't think what's the RSI? I don't think we're too overbought yet, are we?
No, 65. There's some time for this to run. Definitely some time for this to run.
KZIA making its move over VWAP now. This might be the one we're waiting for to take us to 277, potentially higher. Let's see if that's what we end up getting.
Okay, so CLUE opened and 25 seconds later halted to the upside. So this thing, this thing moved from 50 cents to 69 cents. out of that halt and then rehalted here. I don't advise anybody try to trade this. But if you end up making that decision, please be careful. Please don't let this be the ticker that wipes you out.
Yeah, KZIA wiping out right now. KZIA tried to get over VWAP and got slapped right down. Now it's coming down to the consolidation. Let's see if it
AI, man, AI's got me tripping here. Every time I try to type in KZIA, I type in KZAI.
What am I doing with UPS? I'm holding it. Or if anything, I'll probably add to it today.
UPS, but the reason he's getting and answering that question, UPS reported earnings here today, and they were poor, and UPS down 15%. The one thing about UPS here, I understand your long-term trading position. I don't have any follow-ups on that. The one thing I do have on this one is this. We talk about this being a potential, comment on the consumer. Are we feeling that here at all?
Like a gauge on the economy?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's any coincidence that the GDP report did not meet expectations.
Okay.
So I think that gauge was correct. UPS not doing great, GDP below expectations, all is right with the world.
By the way, for anyone that cares about the whole AI thing right now, OpenAI CPO is on CNBC talking about DeepSeek. I can't hear it because I've got this set up here, but that's going on right now. Uber, this is a really good move. Izzy, your stocks just seem to bounce and roll. Amazon, by the way, has continued to bounce. Remember, I told you I was underwater on that, given the pullback here today. We're now green on this trade, or right around break even on this. Let's go, Amazon. Let's break 238 and try to pop that 240 area here. Eris stock market. Ryan, what is your current setup on Benzinga? Do you guys use the 50-day moving average or the 20? Okay, so we actually got this question from Lynn and Randy here. I'll go ahead and show you here. The setup that I have on my bigger chart here, when I'm looking at daily and higher time frames, daily, weekly, monthly, I'm using simple moving averages. It's the 50, 100, 200, 500, and 20. I'll go ahead and type those in the chat so it's easier for you to remember. And then when I flip back to my main workspace where I'm looking at intraday charts like 1, 5, and 15-minute charts, I have EMAs and VWAP on here. The EMAs are the 9, 15, 65, and 200. 13, I'm going to go ahead and type those here in the chat so they can have a record of that. If you wanted me to add any of yours, I'd be happy to do that as well.
Oh, I think I'm good for now. Just was kind of reading into some more of what was going on with UPS's guide. And, the thing with kind of like a decoupling from Amazon, that's, I think that was expected. But, when the company goes this week and the dividend is as attractive as it is now, I get excited. So this is attractive to me. All right, so TECX still hasn't finished its rally, but it might be coming to an end pretty soon. ATHE. Let's see, what else do we got going on here? BBAI hit that 427 and it's starting to come back in a little bit. Still above VWAP though. Looks like AMOD getting support from VWAP. I don't know if it's going to go higher or not. It could, but not sure about this current formation. Needs to move away from VWAP pretty soon.
DJT here, this is not really doing a whole lot. Volume's actually a little bit lower, and this is moving lower, down 1.5% here. I don't really see anything going on here on DJT. This stock just seems to trade if there's stuff in the news. I don't see anything fresh here today. So looks like a little bit of a pullback here on DJT. I don't really see much going on in this one. Here is your AMOD. This actually might set up for a trade if this comes back into VWAP. I've got VWAP here at 389. Stock's currently at 442. Maybe we can come back in here 50 cents more and get a bounce here. AMOD.
Yeah, it looks like some of these movers are starting to slow down pretty good here. Looks like SPY is starting to come back in. Maybe it's setting up for its next move. We'll have to wait and see. It's currently coming down to its VWAP. I have that at 604.74. Just waiting for KZIA to try and recapture its VWAP. And if it can't, it's got some support around that demand zone from this morning, probably around 205. I would guess.
All right.
Baba's printing. So let's see here. I mean, just gonna take a quick look at something.
Sorry, I was just poking around the Twitter streets. OKLO looks like this spiked up here and gave a lot of that back. Let's check in on some of those other names as well. SMR, this actually doing better, and this tried yesterday's intraday high. Looks like we did get above that, but couldn't hold it. I'd watch that level again there, 23 and a quarter. NNE is going to be another one on there. That also, so it looks like all of these testing yesterday's high. These look like maybe they want to try and go higher here.
Yeah, Izzy, Amazon wants to deliver their own stuff. They will still continue to use UPS for areas that UPS serves that Amazon they don't have the last mile delivery set up for yet. But I expect Amazon to continue to reduce its dependency on UPS and use their own vehicles. But it's not going to send UPS out of business, and they've already mentioned that they're going to do some restructuring to reduce costs as a result of this, I guess we'll call it decoupling.
Tack going higher here. Danny, I like this question. This is actually a good story here. Ryan and 13, you guys are awesome. How did you meet? Well, first of all, thank you. Yeah, this is actually a really funny story. So how did we meet? So right around COVID, I started the happy hour show, and the goal was we wanted people to be able, we're constantly pumping out news. We're constantly talking about trade ideas. We're constantly looking at charts. We wanted people to be able to come together and engage with one another more than just chatting, which we were trying to promote at the time. And so I started this show, and 13 was one of the first people to join it. We would cover charts, we would talk about things. And when I first started, it was basically me just running through charts as fast as I could. I was an absolute nervous wreck, and I wanted to get more and more people involved. And shout out here, because 13 and this another gentleman whose name we drop here, Andy, they were early contributors early on. Amidst the COVID craziness, our office did not close. We kept working. In fact, most of us here at Benzinga knew that we really did need to grind. And 13 here wanted to check out the office. Yep. And so we said, come on up. You can hang out with us in the Benzinga office in downtown Detroit. We did that. Well, we went out to bars. We hit a cigar lounge. We walked around downtown Detroit several days. It was a blast. That was a blast. We met from looking at charts, and then we met in person at the Benzinga office.
That's it. That's the story. The rest is history.
I'm still trying to go down to Texas there, because I keep hearing great things about this deep fried turkey that that 13 makes. So I got to get down there, man.
Britt asking if we think companies like Home Depot stock will be affected by the fires in LA with the rebuilding. Absolutely.
So, Britt, Home Depot and Lowe's were two of our plays that we said these would be good longer-term plays from the fires. At the time that we did this, I had mentioned that Lowe's was a better play because right when this happened, Lowe's was sitting on the 200-day. Look what this has done already. Plus 20 points already. We're actually holding above some of these moving averages. Here is one more thing that you should keep in mind as far as a trend. So, I still like some of these plays. Caterpillar was on that list as well. Deere was on that list as well. We already talked about Waste Management here this morning. That was on that list as well.
Also, you can take a look at, I think it's, RSG. Very similar company to Waste Management. That having a good morning as well. Not rocketing or anything, but still made $5 off the lows here from, was this from yesterday? So,
Izzy saying, Ryan, how long ago, Ryan, with Benzinga? So what do you want to know? How long I've been involved with Benzinga, or when did I start working at Benzinga? Because that story is good too. I actually, when I was getting into trade, really quickly here, Arnaz, we talked about that earlier here. That looks like that was pulling on just a little bit of volume here. Arnaz now down 11%, taking out yesterday's intraday low. This level, if you were trading against it, careful here on Arnaz. We've almost retraced this entire move from that move on Tuesday morning. Really quick regarding your question here, when I've told the story a million times. I was not formally trained in markets. I did go to business school and I majored in management with a minor in finance, but I didn't do any type of market classes or anything official like that. So when I started to get involved in trading, I started off in a trading room and I realized that I needed a reputable news source. So I actually subscribed to Benzinga Pro in 2014 and was a 5-year subscriber before just one day casually mentioning in the Benzinga Pro chat, hey, if you folks ever need any help, reach out. I'd be happy to do something like this. Several weeks later, I got a call I got added on LinkedIn from the lead engineer. Several weeks after that, I got an interview, and the rest is history. My first day was June 24th, 2019. So it has been 5 years now almost for me. Over 5 years. I'm in my, 5th year.
Well, Steve, that might be good to pick up WM if they're raising, their rates on and how much they charge for taking out trash. It makes sense that you would go with a different company to avoid having to spend, but get some of that money back by waste management and playing that upside that they have going on here. Just messing around, but I think that's a bullish sign for waste management if they're looking to increase price. That just means more revenue for them. But I don't blame you for switching.
Market pulling here. So we talked about the SPY trading up there, printed a 606 high. It has recently pulled. Now, the only thing I see here in the news, U.S. pending home sales month over month for December minus 5.5% versus a flat 0.0% estimate. The prior read was 2.2%, revised down to 1.6%. So I guess the only thing I would say is hustle and bustle. Are you here? Do you have any insight on this pending home sales or what that might mean? Otherwise, if it's not that print, and I'm not sure that it is, I'm not sure what's bringing us down here.
AMOD is recapturing VWAP, trying to go higher.
Let me go back to that workspace here. Here is AMOD.
Still might be having a hard time with the trend, but it's moving over VWAP, so that's looking good. Looks like KZIA is trying to turn around as well. Volume isn't as great in that one as it is in AMOD. We were seeing NUWE, Nuwellis. That was ripping about a couple minutes ago, went as high as 160. Now we're trying to just hold the VWAP. TECX is in a sideways pattern now and may end up going lower. Be careful.
Watch that VWAP there. I got VWAP 48.55 on TECX. That might be your first bounce spot. That also lines up really nicely with the intraday low. So I would watch that area on this pull.
Get a little bit more movement out of AMOD.
Tell you what, look at this. We talked about this too. Damn, I didn't take it. What? I got too wrapped up in the stories there. We talked about this coming back into the VWAP. Nice clean bounce right off that 395 VWAP. This is actually a pretty decent trade here too. If I was in this, I would have at least booked half here. 50-cent move off that bounce. Really good. And this is kind of what we're looking. What was that AMOD that we were just looking at? No. Golly. What was the last ticker? We were just looking at it.
What is VWAP?
Gotta go through too many tickers here. Let me catch up here real quick. Ryan, I've been live with you guys for 3 years. You've been killing it since the start. I appreciate that, Wis. My entire goal is to try and make a better, more valuable production for the viewers and for our customer base. I wake up and go after that every day. FOXX getting mentioned here.
Lisa, I understand what you're asking now. It's not VWAP, it's VWAP, VWAP. This is it's an indicator. You want to show what that is?
Yeah, that's a pretty good detective work there. Yeah, we absolutely will. Let me go back to a stock that actually, let's do that AMOD. Okay, so VWAP, we say this all the time. We say EMA, SMA, and VWAP probably more than anything else, frankly.
Yeah.
VWAP on this chart is this very light blue line. It stands for volume weighted average price. You don't need to worry about the calculation or anything like that. It's basically looking at the volume and it's looking at the price and it's creating a level that then behaves as a support and resistance level. You will often see this. Here we go. Producer, look at the producer here.
Yep.
Look at producers.
And
we'll talk about killing it.
I can absolutely understand how it's confusing. We're throwing all these terms around without any explanation of what they are. And for the the time period that we have and making these announcements about something that's moving or what these stocks are doing, we can't go into a description every time, but we can do this where we take a minute and explain what we're doing here. But this is a technical indicator, and Ryan can also show you how to pull it up and use it with your chart on the screen here. But we use it for our trading because, as you said, it does provide a good level of support and resistance, and it helps us make our decisions on entries and exits when we're making trades.
It's a really fast moving indicator, right? It responds to a lot of these prices intraday, which is what we need for the purpose of day trading. Webcoins and VWAP, don't give away our secret. That's what we do here, Webcoin. We give away secrets here. One more thing. I had asked you, Hustle and Bustle, I had actually called you out regarding the home print there. Steve, you had mentioned this yesterday. Perhaps I missed it. I apologize for that, but I appreciate this. I mentioned it yesterday around the time you guys were signing off. Mortgage rates over 7 and mortgage applications down 7. There seems to be that line there where people just don't want to take it, especially after having 0% interest rates for God knows how long. Hustle and Bustle saying he speaks the truth. So it looks like that's the readout there on those housing starts. What are you guys, and do you guys connected to the real estate market? I know you guys are coming up on your big season of the year, the April to May, June, April through the summer. I think April, May, June, that quarter I think is your big one. Let me know what you anticipate business wise. Are you optimistic? Not optimistic? IMNM Rice. I think this is one that you mentioned, wasn't it? This going higher here after the offering yesterday.
TECX starting to get weaker here.
This actually pretty bullish. Sorry, really quickly, just to finish up here. IMNM did an offering last night that sunk the stock. We've actually gone higher now on that. That seems bullish to me.
Yeah, TCX that we lost VWAP. MACD is crossing. It's going lower. So I think this may come down into the 40s, probably mid 40s. About 45 would be about where I would think you could see some support. But I'm not trading this one now.
C-Spot saying, what specific VWAP indicator do you use on TradingView? The one called VWAP. In fact, if you search for it, here you go. VWAP. I know some of you, especially you Thinkorswim users, you like that VWAP with the standard deviation bands. It almost looks like a Bollinger Band study. I do like those, but to be quite honest with you, the value that means the most is going to be that VWAP value. I'm perfectly fine using the single line.
AMOD also looking weak. Hasn't broken down yet. If we do start to see some more price breakdown under 4, it looks like there could be some support somewhere between 330 and 345.
This sure looks, speaking of our discussion here on VWAP, it sure looks like this VWAP is supporting this. I had this at 395. It's trying to hold above it. But one thing to keep in mind here, very, very clear downtrend. We want to see that break. Got asked if we took a look at FOXX. We did briefly when you folks were mentioning that. This thing just absolutely vertical. Did we have news on this?
You know why it didn't show up on our scanner? It's because this is moving on almost no volume. I mean, we say that it's 3 times the average volume, but it's still 362,000 shares, so it's not going to hit our scanners with that amount of volume traded.
I have a minimum volume filter of 600,000 on my scanner for the purpose of only identifying liquid trades so that I feel confident about getting in and out of them. That's why we have that filter set up.
And when we look at Fox and we look at the price ladder, I can see that the next bid isn't anywhere near where these sellers are. The next, I don't see a bid. I don't see any bids. But KZIA pushed up to the VWAP just now, and it is trying to go over it. Yep. Thank you, Daniel. You're hitting it as well. Excellent. All right. BBAI, that I saw that was making a move back over VWAP just a moment ago, but it slowed down. It could try and push up, but the volume doesn't look great to me. I would temper expectations with BBAI until we start getting some more volume.
Again, you can see very clearly how well this used VWAP as support intraday here. And then real quick, Lion saying, a great team. I don't trade small penny stocks normally. I trade options on big stocks mainly, but I enjoy the group. Lion, we enjoy having you here. We also enjoy looking at some of those bigger stocks. And in fact, today, the only short-term trade that I'm in is in Amazon. I haven't even taken one of these smaller junky stocks. Maybe that's why I still have all my hair.
I out KZIA at 250.
Nice move right through the VWAP there. Nice sell into strength too. Almost top ticked it. Missed by 3 cents.
And this thing may end up continuing to run. I think I see a trend line that it's about to break. Let me double check that. You could start with the 277 high in the pre-market draw from through the high of the morning here when we had that initial move up, and you can see how we're coming up to that trend line that we want to see broken.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking at. Not in it though. I just wanted that move through the VWAP.
RNAVs, I know we talked about that pulling a little bit. That looks like that just recaptured 8. FOXX is continuing here. This just totally gone. And actually, someone earlier asked if we could check URI, and I said yes, and we never got to it. URI, United Rentals, they reported earnings here up 1.3%.
Now Fox has eyes on it. Now it's getting good volume. We were just looking at how it was like 300 and something thousand shares when it was halted. Now we're over 1 million more. We are getting a volume increase in this one right now.
And so that's a really good call out, 13. This is why we are constantly looking for volume. Look what happened to this stock when the volume really poured in.
Yep. Absolutely.
A huge leg higher. And if you want the graphical representation of that, this is exactly what we try to capture with some of these smaller ones, right? This is the up wave that we want to ride. And this is also why on some of these, when they're curling, we're not taking them because you don't have a volume bar that looks like this.
I'm glad that worked out for you, R Alpha. KZI knifed? Oh, it certainly did.
And NBIS here, we were talking about this one. This really got hit on that whole DeepSeek thing. This has been strong since then. And actually, I wanted to get NBIS calls yesterday, and I never did. And that was dumb because those would be printing here today. And those calls there's enough action there. Pretty good on that. Ryan, what's in your long-term account? Just some stuff that you'd expect. Apple is my biggest position in my long-term account. That is a straight-up investment. Little bit of Google in there. We've talked a lot about Ondas, Portillo's, which was not one of my better trades, although it looks like I might be getting bailed out of that here pretty soon. I take a look at the...
I would love for that to happen.
Oh, my God. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Costco is in my long-term portfolio, and then a whole bunch of dividend plays. FMC is in there. GMRE is in there. GRNT is in there. iPower, a low float. Green technology company is in there. I got a long time horizon on that. I actually think that might go to 50 at some point. ONDS, we talked about. PSEC for the monthly dividend payout. Starwood, probably my biggest dividend play, is in there. TSFL is in there. WETH is currently in there, but that's not long term. That's I'm actually looking to sell that when it moves.
Well, what are we trading? I have no open positions right now.
Yeah, I don't have anything great setting up. Maybe BNZI if it can finally get through that VWAP, but it hasn't been able to do that yet today. LVS, we talked about this one earlier. I definitely want to see some continued strength here with LVS. This actually might materialize into a trade on win for its earnings print, especially if this can continue to move higher, if the gambling space looks pretty good. You guys were mentioning now, ticker NOW Service Now. They reported earnings yesterday. They actually looked like they retested that low area here today. I see Bill Mitchell and his sunglasses on CNBC right now. He's a big pumper of his own stocks. So I can't hear what he's saying, but I would imagine he's talking it up at the moment.
Yeah, Steve, I like both those companies. I actually sold BRKB earlier this year because I felt like it was hitting a bit of a top. If we get a good size market correction, which we still anticipating we're going to get this year, maybe this quarter, I think I'd like to re-enter BRKB on a healthy corrective move. I'd like to get it under 440. But yeah, I think you're right. This is a great company.
I've never owned or traded Berkshire either class. Obviously not the A class, but I haven't traded either class. I'd be curious to know when you do buy that.
Okay.
Real quickly here, Smoke Tuna, what is your average on Portillo's? My average on Portillo's is 16.11. It actually was closer to 19, but when this stock traded down into the 8s against my better judgment, I added to it and lowered my cost basis. And here we are now in a 14 handle. It's got coverage now. It had some recent price targets, and the thesis is still the same. They've never closed a store. Think about that. Why is the stock only $14? I'm sorry. I'm just being frustrated. KZIA, boy, I tell you what, it traded up towards that trend line and came all the way back into support, did nothing. FOXX, that actually stopped just above $10. It's pulled off the high, but it's not breaking down. This might not be done yet, FOXX. BA, you guys are mentioning Boeing here. That was, Chris, you might have mentioned this earlier. I'm sorry if I didn't cover it here. Boeing, nice little curl back here. Did we have any fresh news on Boeing? I don't think so. Oh, never mind. Military drone market heating up as multi-billion-dollar industry realizing rapidly increasing demand. AV mentioned there. I have to have a word with my news desk team because I didn't put ONDS in there. Smoke Tuna Ryan, I think better think long term. I think I know what you mean there. I am long term for that one, by the way.
KZIA hasn't broken down beneath the pre-market consolidation, so there still could be more of could be another move coming, but I'm not in this one right now, and I'm not sure that I'm going to take another trade in it today. But it's still holding up here. I'd just be a little bit worried if we lost that consolidation. CLUE, this junky name here, this still trying to bounce. I'm not going to trade that. Be careful if you do. IBM, oh my God, IBM, did we really even go higher? Wow, IBM now up 14. This is a huge move for IBM. I can't remember the last time I saw IBM trading up 14+% in a day. Yeah, I might have to get rid of the rest of that. I've been unwinding IBM throughout the year. Or last year.
To be clear, because not everyone follows your portfolio, he's been unwinding that at a gain. You bought this much lower, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me see where I'm at with that now. But yeah, I did buy it at a really good price. And just kind of slowly unwinding it. Let's see where I'm at today.
Hey, take a look at that trend line that we identified earlier on AMOD. That is held in there.
So with what I have left in IBM, I'm up 118.5%.
On the equity, that's not an option position.
Right.
That's an equity position. That's how it's done right there, folks.
Yeah, I picked it up at 119.49. That's my average cost.
Peter asking, where do you go to view the happy hour program? So happy hour is, again, as I've mentioned before, it's only for paying pro members. I know, Peter, which you are. You will get every day before the close. It's Monday through Thursday we run that program, so doesn't happen on Friday. The last one of the week is tonight. you'll get a little notification bar at the bottom of your screen. There will be a message there, and it'll say click here to join. That signs you up for the Zoom call, and then every day it starts, you get an invitation to that meeting from that Zoom call. Jay saying IBM, I put it in a separate account so I wouldn't trade it. What's your outlook on IBM? Is that just a hold long term for you, Jay? Do you have a price target? What are you thinking there? Lion mentioning that Baba is still going strong. That we talked about that yesterday. I still think we're going to get that 100 print here. I know it's only a quarter away at this point, but still think we get that 100 print. My call earlier was that we get a 100 print on this. And then I also said earlier, watch yesterday's intraday high, because if you pop above that, you might go for more of a run.
Yeah, I'm looking at IBM's daily chart, and I don't think it's ever had a move like this, like it's getting today. Also, the RSI is 83, and that's just on the daily. What is it on the weekly? 73. What is it on the monthly? 75. I think this thing might be overowned. I'd like to see it come back down closer to 200.
Nike continuing to go here. I was hoping for 80. God, we're at 78 now. Let me see where those calls are at. The trailer piece that I have on, oh yeah, 265% on those options right now. Let your winners run, right, Tuna? Let your winners run. Steve is asking, is pro member Zinger Nation? No, well, so Zinger Nation is anybody that is in the Benzinga ecosystem, whether it's YouTube, Research Pro, or other. What pro member means is an active paying subscription to Benzinga Pro.
Rocket, we Benzinga tried that before, and it was okay, but it just didn't get enough attention or support. So the Discord server channel didn't really work out. And it kind of takes away from pro as well. So we decided, I think that's the decision was just to keep it within the happy hour Zoom meeting and all the chat to the chat channels within pro.
Yeah, so just to kind of expand on that a little bit, one of the things that you do get with a pro subscription is access to the pro chat rooms in here, of which there are several. Happy hour is one of them, by the way. But there's a day trading room, an options room, the pro lounge, et cetera, et cetera. There's and Anne Marie's chat room where she's giving away trades. Yep. So we definitely, that's the main chat here. One of the other things that happened with the whole Discord thing is that because we didn't give it enough TLC, we actually had the bots and spammers get on there. Mm-hmm. And the last thing that we want to do is have something where there are unscrupulous individuals trying to scam others. Now, I've recently, just pulling the curtain back here, I've recently asked our producer if this is something that we could kind of start just as kind of we want all of you folks to be in the same community. So if we can do that, I don't want to say it's impossible. We are kind of looking into what we can do. But as 13 said, we have a really great thing going on in pro, and we don't necessarily want to take away from that. We only want to add. Now, as far as your question about the happy hour, I'm actually looking into some other ways where we could kind of manage that too. I'm thinking maybe anyone that subscribes on YouTube might be able to get access to that. We'll see. I'm looking to expand that in the future, but I don't have any concrete plans on
that. Hans K saying IBM is a quantum trade. It is that and more. You're right.
NBIS highs again, 12% here today.
It's just that at some point, because of the move that it's just had, I mean, just over the past year, there's going to be some mean reversions. There's going to be some coming in. Don't know exactly when that's going to be, but when we have strong days like this, that's the kind of strength I like to sell into. Just because per my my rules.
Take care of yourself, Lion.
There's nothing that you said that I disagree with. I just don't think that here is where I'd be buying. This is where I'd be selling, and I'd wait for a cheaper price to start buying. And I think that we're going to be getting that later.
Jay, really appreciate you answering this question here directly. IBM always been a cheap AI play. We tried to highlight that too. We tried to highlight this as being one of the OG AI plays. They've been in AI forever. I mean, remember Watson? That was AI before AI was cool and hip and all of that. So really good stuff there. They were late getting into software, but now it's kind of paying off. 300 is my target. Jay, you're not far away from that target.
No,
You're not far
no.
away from that target at this point. So good stuff.
And do we have any analysts that are saying 300 yet? I see 276 is the highest. But yeah, I agree with what everything that everybody's saying. I'm just executing my plan. Looks like KZIA is still has some life in it, still getting support from that that consolidation area in the pre-market, coming back up to the VWAP.
Yep. And remember, just kind of reiterating, because one of Smoke Tuna's general strategies here when we're talking especially about some of these smaller, junkier names, you want to add these on weakness. And this is a really good example of why you want to do that, right? When this stock was pulling and coming right back into the support level and no one was really excited about it, that is actually your better entry. Now that it's held that area and it's started to trade back up, anyone that bought down here, you're in the green now. So really a always good to remember that I know it's hard and it's counterintuitive, but when the stock is depressed or when it's off some of those highs, when it's down at a support level, that's actually the buy area, not when it's ripping. There are times where the market is just so bullish that trading things to the upside is exactly what you want to do. I don't know that we're in that type of environment right now. And I think that this adding stocks that come into a support level is way more palatable and better for short-term trading. IBM should buy Intel. Ahmad, hey, look at this. Ahmad finally breaking this downtrend that we identified real early. I think it was actually on this first pop here, just past 10 o'clock. Ahmad, this actually might be firming up now. Watch this for a potential trade, especially if this moves above 400.
Yeah, I have serious doubts they would buy Intel. And if you look at the type of chip architecture that they use in their all the different enterprise systems, it's buying Intel wouldn't make sense. Not for them. They use like some a power PC chip. It's not. I'm trying to think of exactly what it's based off of, but it just wouldn't make sense. It would just be a big old thing for them to pick up, and then they'd spend probably millions, if not billions, figuring out what to do with it. I don't think they'd pick it up. It doesn't make sense to me.
And now that I'm looking at it here, actually a pretty nasty reversal in the market. NASDAQ actually leading the way lower here. So NASDAQ was outperforming to the upside earlier, just went green-red. Remember, green-red, short-term, bearish for sure. NASDAQ leading the way down here. Q's negative. Let's take a look at the SPY here. That's also coming back in, and that is causing a lot of the stocks that SPY here pretty much flat. That is causing a lot of the stocks connected to this to also move here. Netflix has gone green-red. How's NVIDIA doing? That was actually a little weak earlier today. NVIDIA weaker as it takes out yesterday's intraday low here. NASDAQ roll, says Izzy. Indeed.
Hustle and bustle, to your point about IBM being mostly consulting, that's one of the other reasons why I want to reduce, if not finish off my position, is because they have a lot of government contracts, and we have this administration kind of cutting down on those contracts. IBM is certainly going to be one that might be losing some government business. So just thinking that that's what could happen here. I don't think they're going to get absolutely slammed, but I think that it's really over-owned right now, and these are some very, very outsized moves for the company.
Intel calls getting bought here. 2,000 plus Intel calls swept here. Those expire tomorrow. Those are very short-term calls. That looks like a very short-term trade there.
Is there news coming?
On what?
On Intel? Or is this just maybe because it's been hammered recently?
Okay. Well, both. We'll cover that here real quick. So number one, this has absolutely been hammered recently. And it's at a support level. So seeing that this could potentially bounce from this area, it makes sense just with kind of looking at the chart. Mm-hmm. These are very, very short-term calls. So it looks like maybe just by tomorrow, this has to work. Otherwise those calls are worthless. The other thing, and I read this yesterday, someone from our Benzinga ecosystem who works in law enforcement, still active, so I
Yeah.
redacted the name, had mentioned that there's stuff going on at some of the facilities, and that's normally a precursor to something, but obviously we don't know. So I can't, there's rumors. Is he saying rumors on Intel forever? There has always been rumors on Intel. I don't know, and I don't have a position to capture it at this time. So maybe. We'll see.
Okay. Then they're just playing it for the earnings then.
There you go.
Yeah. Giraffe pattern on the
a giraffe pattern. Is that a new one?
Let me take a look. We got the whole animal kingdom coming up in here. I guess
my favorite is the Batman head. That one is still. I mean, oh my! And the fact that there's a write up about it. Oh, just glorious.
Yeah, we've had that. We saw Shark Jaws with Reddit. We saw Buffalo Back with some other company. I can't remember.
So shout out here. If any of you really want to follow a bright guy who also likes to have some fun on X, especially with chart patterns, follow Jeff Mackey. Because here, in fact, I'll try and pull this up here. He is one of my favorite follows in all of FinTwit, just because he makes me laugh so often. It's just, he's so good. Here, let me give you his Twitter page here. Let me actually see if he's got a recent chart where he's got stuff drawn on it. It is just a laugh riot.
I see what you're saying here about a giraffe pattern. The giraffe's looking to the left, I assume. Lisa asking about BBAI. I'll take a look at that.
Here we go. Around. Okay, real quick. I'll be very, very brief. We'll come back here. So here, Jeff Mackey. I've been following this guy for a long time. At Jeff Macke. Follow him. He's great. But here we go. Octopussy. I love James Bond movies. This is a really good one. Here we go. So Roger Moore was 55 when he shot Octopussy, which has been remastered into high def on Prime. Do we need to see it in high def? No, we do not. Have I been a little roped into Octopussy? Yes, this is consumer research. So here's what I mean about some of the charts. The charts. He will annotate charts in the most random way, and it will always be funny. It will never get old. Never.
How old is he? 7? It's like it was drawn with a crayon.
No. I mean, he's not 7. He is a professional, and he's very, very bright too. But man, oh man, he's got so many of these. I've been following him since I started doing this. So shout out to Jeff Mackey, getting the laughs all the time.
That's funny.
The next time I come across one that really puts me in stitches, I'll save it and I'll show it to the group here.
Looks like Fox just recaptured its VWAP. FOXX. Looks like
this is a pretty sweet formation here. Volume looks good too.
DWTX. It's slow, but it's making its way up to the 1356 high that it made out of the open. And then we were getting asked earlier about BBAI. This still looks like it hasn't quite recovered yet. MACD hasn't shown that it's starting to curl. It could try and start moving back up, but we are beneath the 9 and 15 EMAs, and it looks like we're still drifting lower. Volume doesn't look great. Not sure about this one at this stage. I still think it could end up heading lower. KZIA still holding that. Holding that 208 area where that consolidation is. That's going to be kind of like the line in the sand where it's been, are we okay? Okay.
Yeah, we're good. I just had to reshare my screen.
Okay. Yeah, where the price has been finding support right around that 208 area. So we lose 208, then it's likely going under 2, down to the 65 EMA.
Got ATHE. This was one of our movers earlier. What a disaster.
Yeah, that was a mover in the pre-market. I don't know that we've really had a whole lot of good stuff with this one in the regular session. I don't even think I traded this one. No.
And this TECX, this is actually curling now. This has done a really good job staying above its VWAP all day, but this is curling back up. Watch for maybe a move towards 55 here.
Yeah, I really like that they gave a time frame of when you can expect some more results from their data, or their trials. I remember that TX45, they are expecting more results in the second half of this year, and they also have another drug, TX2100. They are expected to start phase one in the fourth quarter of this year or Q1 of next year. Take care, hustle and bustle. Go sell those houses.
Good luck. Let us know what type of information you get from your boots on the ground research. SKBL here. This did pop above VWAP. I saw a bunch of you mentioning this one here. Nice little volume pop on this. We didn't have any accompanying news with this, did we? Nope. It's like that's just trading action in there. And also, folks, real quick here, just looking ahead here on the schedule, we do have an all access here today at 10:50 to 11. So we'll be going over to Dan for that all access here. Still 11 minutes away. We got some more time. Quick look in at Amazon here. I'm still underwater Amazon. I'm going to hold in there, though. It's not breaking down yet.
You, Market Sniper, and CA Forsman were all really. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that was Fox. The one I'm looking at right now, I think you had mentioned it. TECX, that just had a big move through VWAP and is looking to take out the high of day of 55.80.
Yep, I just talked about 55 there.
That is another really nice move. Not sure what's going to happen at 55.80, but it's not looking bad either.
Flagstar Financial here. Britt mentioning FLG. Stock's up 17% here. I don't recognize this one. This wasn't a Melvin pick, was it? Dividend. That's small.
They had earnings today.
They had earnings today.
Earnings today. They had a short squeezing as well. 12.36 of the float shorted, 9.27 days to cover.
Northeast and Midwest location in high growth markets in the Southeast and West Coast.
Ooh, so basically in the areas where all the fires were.
Yeah, and I mean Southeast. I guess maybe you could even say if that was the Carolinas, maybe it had exposure to that too. Private banking team located in over 10 cities in the metropolitan New York City region and on the West Coast, which serves the needs of high net worth individuals and their businesses. Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is definitely has some exposure to the California wildfire thing. If we're talking about that, it were high net worth people that lived in those areas.
Mm-hmm. The Palisades, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have the greatest Google reviews. Let me see if I can. I'm going to take a look and see if I can get some locations on their. Okay, I got to use control apparently. So it looks like they're mostly out of. They do a lot of business in Phoenix. So I don't necessarily consider that to be West Coast. although given enough earthquakes, it might be.
They used to in Under Siege 2 when they talked about the satellite weapon, they're like, yeah, you have a big earthquake on a fault line in California, and all of a sudden Arizona becomes beachfront property.
I remember that.
Yeah. Under Siege. Look, man, I don't think there's anyone in the world, not even Steven Seagal himself, that can quote Under Siege and Under Siege 2 better than I can. I understand that they're cheesy movies. I grew up in the 90s. I loved those movies. It's got a nostalgic appeal to me. I'm not proud of it. It's just it happens to be. It is what it is. FLG was the old NYCB. That is a super good mention. I'm pissed I didn't realize that.
So it's susceptible to bank runs. That's what you're saying?
Well, they might have shored that up since that all happened. Remember, Mnuchin got in there and dealt with all that. So,
what's Kula reviews? This asks Brit.
Kula, is that a ticker?
Mean. I just looked. It's not. Okay. Can you give us a little bit more on that, Brit, and we can get your question answered? I don't know what you mean by Kula reviews. And,
okay.
We've got about 17 minutes. right? Or we're a little bit. We're going to be shutting
No,
down.
we have 7 minutes because we have an all
Okay,
access here, but
gotcha.
but we still got time. There's no we're not we're good. We're good
See,
here.
see spot. My hometown had an entire block that fell into the ocean over the last decade. That wouldn't happen to be in California, would it? Because if it is, I think I might know where that is. C spot where?
That's ticker spot, right? Let me go to the bigger chart and we can look at that. That's Spotify. I'm pretty sure that's what the person's asking about. Spotify. This has been an absolute monster. This thing hasn't been at or beneath the 200 days since 2023, since the beginning of 2023.
I said I was looking at some reviews for Spot. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring to. All right. That,
Above the law. Oh man, you
no,
guys.
no.
Yeah.
So C Spot's a person in the chat here. I think she's talking to. I don't know who she's talking to. She's talking to both of us. Oh, so she's asking where was C Spot's hometown. I'm getting caught up, folks. See how I do that?
Look, it happens. It's the one thing. I know you guys have mentioned how much you like the fact that we interact with the chat, but the one thing is sometimes it can be difficult to follow along.
When I asked about FLG, you said Kula. Reviews don't look so good. Okay, hold on a second. Let me go back to FLG, and I remember I said that there was had some high short interest. It was hold on a second. We had 12.36 of the float shorted, 9.27 days to cover. Was it days to cover? Did I speak so fast that it sounded like something else? And then this was NYCB previously, so I was asking in a joking manner if this was susceptible to bank runs. I don't know if I said anything else about this. Christopher walking is opposite of Christopher Reeves. That's kind of mean, but low key funny.
Sorry, still looking around here.
Are they talking about Cooler? I don't know, but let's take a look at Cooler. Why not? So they keep coming out with news.
Baba continues to go. We got those 100 prints, by the way.
And Cooler does have Bitcoin exposure, so I would say that when we see Bitcoin rise, there should be some relationship move here with Cooler as well. It's kind of what my expectation is for companies that have announced their Bitcoin holdings and how much they own. You kind of get a better idea of their assets, or at least the value of their assets, because you know what Bitcoin is doing and you know how much they have of it. But Cooler, man, this float, and Michael Moe said he's not reverse splitting, so okay, enjoy that 260 million share float.
Oh my God, I've got something in my eye.
Yeah, I agree. Fairchild, there's just nothing to see here with Cooler.
TEM, this was a good mention here. TEM absolutely ripping to the upside. I traded this one earlier. I should have swung this like I'm swinging Amazon. That would have been a huge win. TEM, remember, this had the Pelosi push in it too.
Is it John, JHAN? I don't know that it made them a joke, because that seems to be the kind of the trend that's been going on right now. You've seen MicroStrategy doing it. You've seen, of course, Tesla's already been doing it. Lots of these really big names have been buying Bitcoin. Now, I have my own opinion on Bitcoin, of course, but this is a thing that the companies have been doing. They've been buying up Bitcoin and holding it and watching their value increase as Bitcoin increases. That's I don't think that's made them a joke. That's just what a lot of companies are doing right now.
And I generally speaking don't like to argue with the CEO of gigantic banks that are referred to as a fortress, but Jamie Dimon saying too bad Bitcoin has no value. Actually, Bitcoin's value right now is $106,260 USD.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have my own opinions on Bitcoin, but for now, it's my approach to it is it is what it is. everybody's thinking, hey, it's worth over 100,000. So I'm like, okay, I guess so. And we'll just act accordingly because I like to make money.
All right, good stuff here today. Like I said, we are going to get over to Dan here pretty soon. I think he's probably ready. If you are, you can hop on here and we'll go ahead and move over there. This has been a pretty good day. Again, we are going to send you over to All Access here. It's going to be 10 minutes. And then, yes, we will be back here tomorrow. There he is. There's my guy, Dan. Dan, how you doing here today?
Doing great. Always ready, my man. Good to see you.
Likewise, always ready. You were born ready here. Up. Producer's trying to help, and we're double clicking. We're having a clicking war. Sorry, Dan. Dan, before we turn it over to you, 13, any closing words here for the group?
Nope. I'll see you everybody tomorrow. Have fun with Dan, and we'll make some more money on the manana. See you later, folks.
Okay, sounds good. 13, take care. That means we're moving over to our guy, Dan, here. Dan, what do you got coming up here on All Access?
Very excited. We're going to talk with the CEO of Ascent Solar Technologies, Paul Worley. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, awesome. Let's just go ahead and get started. Take it away, Dan.
Hey, Zingers, and welcome to All Access. I've got a wonderful guest for you today. It's Paul Worley, the CEO of Ascent Solar Technologies. The NASDAQ ticker is ASTI. He is joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the CEO of Ascent Solar Technologies, Paul Worley. Fantastic to be with you today, Paul.
Pleasure to be with you, Dan.
Hey, the honor and pleasure is all mine as well. Let's start with this, Paul. Can you give us an overview of Ascent?
Sure. We were started over 20 years ago inside of a conglomerate. They decided to spin us off, and that's when we went public approximately 20 years ago. We originally formed to go on the back of cell phones, and we had a foldable array so you could take camping and other things. And that was kind of the cell phone side of things. Cell phones kept rising and how much power they needed. And then going camping, our product is still far superior to anything coming out of China, but stuff coming out of China is very expensive. I'm sorry, very cheap. Ours is more expensive, but theirs is made out of silicon and it doesn't hold up very well, but people preferred to buy the cheaper version.
Boy, have times changed, by the way, when it comes to the way the cell phones, technology, everything. So it really is fascinating. And, let's talk about why your technology is competitive. Help us understand SIG's design and your monolithic integration process.
Okay. I'm going to do it real simply. We'll do it through this. That's our process. It unrolls like Christmas paper. We are by far the thinnest product. We are the most flexible product. And so ours is one continuous manufacturing process with a plastic film. And then we scribe it through laser to create the current, whereas crystalline is individual cells, which are put together.
I love
that's it at a high level.
I love when a guest brings props. So you're already winning me over that. Now, this is cool. How is your tech used by spacecraft, Paul?
Okay, so we are either used as to power satellites. The reason they would use our product is we're much lighter, and that reduces their launch cost to put it into air dramatically. And especially if you're going to moon and to Mars, those launch costs are incredibly expensive.
No, they definitely are. And I'd love to know as well, Paul, about your collaborations with Momentus and the University of Stuttgart's Institute for Building Energetics, Thermotechnology, and Energy Storage as well.
Sure. We teamed up with Momentus and they used us inside their TASA product, which basically rolls the solar array up. We were chosen based on our flexibility. Okay. And we successfully rolled out and were functional in space. With the University of Stuttgart, it was very interesting. They had two glass tubes, one, about that big, the other one about that big. And so our product was used in two different ways. We generated auxiliary power for a home. And then we also, because heat is put off by our flexible panels, it also heated the water that was going through the pipes. And this would be used in residential or a small commercial building.
That's absolutely fascinating stuff. And now I got to get to the $1 billion question. Can your technology, Paul, help us get to Mars? I want to go to Mars. Can it help us get there?
Okay. I'll try to do that as quickly as possible. So there's two ways to potentially get to Mars. You can go to the moon and launch from the moon and use the moon's geographical, centrifugal force to then launch to Mars. Or you can go via space and refuel and then supply your aircraft that are going, or spacecraft that are going to Mars. And so you resupply them with fuel and that. So where we would be used on the moon is we would be used to help power electricity on the moon. Or if you're going to Mars, you have these fuel storage or resupply ships, depots, vessels, whatever you want to call it. And there's wild swings in temperature. So the temperature then is you need, in order to cool fuel, you have to cool fuel or otherwise those depots would explode. And also you would probably want to keep whatever you're storing at a more reasonable temperature on the high end, on the heat end too. So you'd want to cool that. So that's basically how we play in going to Mars or going to the moon.
I love it. Things like that give us hope that it's within reach, very, very soon. And, Paul, obviously we know we just had an administration change here in the United States. How will this market change as this new administration takes the reins?
Well, it's very clear the administration is already hard at work, okay, in a couple of different areas. Some projects we were applying for, they reduced the amount of information we're having to give, which is great. So they're reducing that, and they're pushing going to Mars very, very hard. It's very clear that that's already switched over. We're looking at different mechanisms to power things in space, whether it's solar, beaming, or whatever. But there's a lot of different ways to help get to Mars more quickly.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you today, Paul. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it.
Hey, it was fascinating. Pleasure and
Have a
honor all
great day.
mine. You as well.
Thanks.
That was the CEO of Ascent Solar Technologies, Paul Worley. The NASDAQ ticker is ASTI. Thank you so much for watching All Access today.